Live now.
Hello.
Okay, never mind.
We'll just wait for later.
You mean
He's on now.
yeah?
Oh, great.
Yeah, we're live now.
I have perfect timing.
I know,
Actually-
right? Perfect
I
time.
just like,
Actually, we're on the air in Quahog.
God damn it.
It's gonna rain.
It's going
it's
rain.
gonna rain hard.
Everyone on time? Yeah, surprisingly, everybody is on time for
Yeah.
miraculous
wasn't-
reasons, I
I was
guess.
saying, I wasn't doing shit before this, so you guys caught me at the right time.
Nice. Well, I mean, the only time we have is just this time, so.
No time like the present.
Exactly. So hopefully everybody in the chat is doing a-okay. I decided to press the play button and immediately hop into this call while there's just a little bit of music playing in the background there. It's just kind of allow the mood to just, soothen up a little bit while I get things all set for tonight's session of the PokePod World Podcast, folks. We are going to be having a fun one for the night, I hope.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
It's definitely going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Now my question is, do you want to start with a depressing story or do you want to start with a uplifting story?
I've never
Don't you
wondered-
normally always follow up a depressing story with an uplifting story?
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about the depressing story first.
All right, well, we'll get to that
Stuff, right?
momentarily,
Yes.
of course. We just want to make sure we are sounding A-okay, audio's fine, no technical difficulties. We also want to give a huge shout out to somebody's birthday, actually, that is going on today. Somebody that is
Yes.
very well known to many people out there. And who else to better say than happy birthday to my man Bugs Bunny. Congratulations on your 80th year, buddy.
Yay!
What's up?
Hell yeah, happy birthday to the Bugs Bunny, man. Yeah, there's nothing else I'm supposed to say, right? No? Okay, well. No, okay.
The image
music's
the image that I created, can you put that up?
All right, sure. So, once again, everybody, before we begin our session of the night, greetings, everybody. My name is KG Prestige. Here with me are all of my folks here in the call. Tyrone the God 3, TSS, Polly, and Nessa. And tonight, folks, we are here for another week of the PokePod World Podcast. We're going to be sitting down, chatting away, and discussing all things mainly related to Pokemon and other gaming stuff as well, and other things that we feel like adding in between, because that's kind of what we do for the first hour. So, for our numero uno, we're just going to be here just chillaxing and relaxing, chatting away, and of course, in hour 2, we will be discussing the recent episode of PM 2019, which is yet another very controversial episode for the community. Will it be good? Will it be bad? Only time will tell when we get to that review. But until then, though, TSS, I would like to ask for that particular image that you have told me to put in.
It's in the other Facebook group, and you got to scroll up.
Okay, I think I know which one in particular you might be talking about, so let me go and
Other
Yes.
Facebook group.
yes, the other Facebook group. Ah, yes, there we go. I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yes. Yes, and I have to explain it because people are gonna say, "What the fuck is that?"
All right, so allow me
What
to
the
set
fuck
this
is
image
that?
up while I'm at it then.
Oh, is that the one that
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
Charizard one?
It's the one that you. Yeah, don't spoil it just yet, but it's like, no, it's not Pikachu twerking.
no?
God.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, I know what it is then. I'm like not looking at any screens, so I'm like, okay.
And Lightning's hosting.
All right, hold on. Let me just
Thank
put
you,
that.
Lightning.
There we
Thank
go.
you, Lightning.
Thank you, Lightning. Oh God.
Beautiful, beautiful pizza time.
What the hell?
Okay, I have to explain this because people are gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Seems weird.
Richie, of course, Richie's character is Charizard X, and so that on Go's ass is a slice from Joe's Pizza, which Richie loves Joe's, so that's the backstory on it. Also, in the little video that we created, I had this in the background on my monitor because I like doing that shit. But it's like, yeah, I wanted to do that because it's like I was just, oh, okay. It's like, okay, I remember the Charizard pissed face from the first short, and that's why
And
I
then
did.
this is just a follow up to that.
Yes.
Beautiful.
No, it's not. No, it's not because It's not because Richie hates Go. It's because the fact that I can stick a slice of pizza on Go's ass and make it work. It's pretty much what it was.
Correct.
Sorry.
Oh man, but
Oh,
I didn't think this was the sad story that you were
The
referring to. That
vampire
that
no,
caught
the
me off
sad
guard.
story. The sad story is actually coming up. I
All
would like
right.
to. I would like to say a few words on a very nice celebrity and game show host that passed away this weekend, Regis Philbin from my
Mm.
neck of the woods. He was a Bronxite through and through. Died at the age of 88. Of course, he hosted Regis. He hosted Regis and Kelly and Regis and Kathy Lee from 1988 until 2011.
Mm.
Um, there's actually a one block section of Kruger Avenue between Bronxdale and Sycamore Avenue, um, Sycamore Street, that is named Regis Philbin Avenue. That's the block that he grew up in. He had the fiery spirit. And coincidentally enough, and they did not air this because of his death, but they were showcasing the episode that he was on Celebrity Jeopardy from 1992, October 26, 1992. And Sony had to edit in a little black screen at the beginning of the episode paying tribute to him because obviously when they were organizing this rerun, he didn't die yet. So he
Mhm.
was still alive. So at least Sony, who owns Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, they had the foresight in paying tribute to him. But realistically, Regis, he was amazing on Millionaire. If anybody had watched Millionaire from 99 until 2002, and then again from 2004 and 2009, when he
Mhm.
had Super Millionaire, people will know his charismatic
Mhm.
delivery, and in a way, he was a true Bronxite and had that kind of like the fiery attitude. And
Mhm.
I really appreciated about that. Everybody remembers the John Carpenter $1 million um, scene where John Carpenter called his father just to tell him that he won the $1 million.
That will
That's
always be
still
my favorite scene in the entirety of this show, man. I will never get
yes,
over the fact that this man calls his dad, be like, "Yo, dad, what's up? Guess what? I don't
yeah,
really need your advice whatsoever because I'm about to
yeah.
win $1
And
million."
he was the only person. He was the only person to run up the $1 million without using a single lifeline.
Yeah, he did that as a joke, so that's why I don't believe it ever
Yeah. So
counted as
yeah,
a.
it doesn't count because he never needed help. So he was the only person to win the $1 million on Millionaire without any lifelines whatsoever.
Mhm.
It is absolutely incredible and very
Isn't that
iconic. Till this
right?
day, people still think about that clip because of just how, I guess, memorable and charming that entire
Well, and
moment
also
was.
Regis, anything he hosted was gold. Any his contestant interactions. I mean, any and even his guest interactions on his talk show. You can really tell that he clicked and he really understood, how to make entertainment. And plus, he's in the Guinness Book. He was in the Guinness Book of World Records for the person logged most hours on television.
See, this is why I enjoyed Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, even as a 10-year-old back then.
Right.
Yeah. Also, there were some very comedic moments outside of the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show, as stated before. Another particular moment that I liked was when Regis decided to recite one of Nas' lyrics because of the fact that Regis was referenced in that particular lyric. I wish I
Mhm.
could find that particular song that it was where he said or he stated those said lyrics in. Let me see if I could find it real quick. But yeah, so it was a nice little small clip in regards to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire's host and
Oh,
how
that's
obviously
that was a new one. I know. I kind of have to hear it now.
yeah, you can look these
Yeah.
up online. Of course, I'm not
And
going
then
to be
there's
playing the audio clips for
no,
copyright
yeah,
purposes. But it is something that's just kept on with him for legacy, even till to the point of musicians and
yeah,
artists out there, very popular worldwide to use
mhm.
the man's, you know, I guess
Yeah,
identity as a way to kind of create something remarkable. I mean, the whole millionaire bit and whatnot.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
I remember mostly in Millionaire because I remember when it first debuted, like in '99, and
Yeah.
I think
August
I
99.
watched it was like a weekly thing that me and my family watched,
mhm.
and it kind of like I was always into those gaming shows. It was kind of like I was like, oh yeah, we can do the easy ones, no problem. But once it gets to like the past $1,000 mark, then it gets the questions get a little harder, and then the 32,000 mark, it's like where it gets the hardest.
Oh yeah.
But I did notice like the format changed though, because like I think I watched a couple recent Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but it was like Celebrity Edition, and I was like, oh, it's a little different from what I remember.
You go on Wiki, so Millionaire has changed so much.
Yeah.
Ever since Regis stepped down, and then Meredith Vieira, and then you had like Cedric the Entertainer, and and the run just ended. The syndicated run just ended like this year, last year actually.
Wow.
And they had like then I think it was in like 2009 they started to have a clock to give a time limit, and then after that, and then they changed like the lifelines. They got rid of like phone a friend and stuff because people could look on the internet and stuff like that. And then they went into like a category format where it was just random dollar amounts, and then you had a bank. And then I think for the final 2 seasons or then they went back to a 15 question format like the classic.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there was a lot of changes, but overall, but for me, at least in this country, because of course, Millionaire is a British show. It was originally a British show, and then they brought it over here.
As
Valley
do
Crest
many
production.
other shows, I believe.
Yes, and and Millionaire was the first show that really started the big game show money craze in the late 90s, early 2000s. Because after Millionaire, you had Fox responded with Greed, which Greed is one of my favorite game shows of all time. And after that, NBC responded by bringing back 21 for a year with Maury Povich. So at the same time, you had Regis hosting Millionaire, Chuck Woolery hosting Greed, and Maury Povich hosting 21. And it was a great time, a great period of time in game shows, late 99 until like early 2001. Actually, I still remember when an episode of Millionaire, I think it was in like 2000 or 2001, the episode lasted like an hour and 45 minutes because it was live. So they overran it by 45 minutes because I think one of the questions took like half an hour.
Damn.
Because they were live and they couldn't stop.
Damn.
So I don't know if that's documented anywhere, but I remember that the one Millionaire episode went for like an hour and 45 minutes.
I'm
I
pretty
think I know
sure
what you're
it's-
talking about. Yeah.
Probably it is. I don't.
And if anything, the people who have the clips on them will probably release it at some point later down the road, maybe to just kind of pay homage to Regis' legacy. Even to that point about the 30-minute question, Also, by the way, I managed to find the clip as well as the line in particular so I can read it for you guys.
Sure.
Okay, so I got this on Revolt.tv. It says here, a clip of Philbin reciting the words to Nas's 2001 hit song Uchiwali on Fox Sports is also making rounds on Twitter and sparking warm memories of the beloved TV personality. And here's the line in particular that was in Nas's song. O is for Uchi. Oh, you ain't know. How many O's in the bankroll? Sort of like the game show. Yeah, there's 2 likes to that. Who wants to be a millionaire? But my name ain't Regis. And then, of course, as follow-up from that, major applause from the audience came in before asking Nas if he was ever a fan of the show regarding Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So, yeah, a lot of people have come out to pay their respects and, to talk about the man's legacy and how much this man has impacted, talk show hosts and, just in general for stuff like this. It's incredible.
I mean, his format was pioneer. I mean, that format started in like realistically the late 70s, early 80s, and then it went into syndication in 88, and that was like the benchmark. If you could get a show that was as popular as Regis' show, then you made it.
Yeah. He was basically that top of the mountain that you always wanted to reach but could never get to at the time that this was, big as is. So once again, massive respect to Regis for giving fans decades worth of content and just putting people's smiles and even living enough to see people actually win the millionaire game to, come out on top and answer all the questions correctly and actually come out and say, yeah, I became a millionaire, So I'm very happy to see that his legacy will never go in vain, that everyone will acknowledge and remember the man's legacy for many, many years to come. And that's what makes me happy the most. But yeah, so overall, if you ever want to take a chance to go and watch some of the shows that he's done in the past, I'm pretty confident they are somewhere via streaming platforms and even maybe on YouTube as well. So if you ever want to go down a trip through memory lane, those options are available for you.
And like I said, the episode of Jeopardy from '92 that he was on that aired tonight, it's a must see. It really showed his really,
like the starting
fiery
point for him?
personality. No, it wasn't the starting point, because remember, I mean, that was, I mean, he was in syndication at that time for like 4 years, so people knew who he was. It's just that the iconic moments in game show history, that's where it started. Once he got on Celebrity Jeopardy, that's it. That was it.
Okay.
Then everybody knew that he was kind of like this fiery guy. So if you hadn't checked it out, there's probably going to be clips about it on YouTube soon, because like I said, the episode re-aired. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Alrighty then. So let us go and take a second as well to, talk about some pretty wacky news that have been going on within the world of gaming, specifically with Nintendo. Now, this would be the part where I would go over to the next area to showcase said images that will be talked about regarding whatever it is that we tend to talk about, whether it be for old school Nintendo games, current gen games, trailers, all that stuff. There's just one itty bitty problem with that. It's illegal.
yeah, that's what it is.
What?
And I was about to say that, because if you were to show any sort of screenshots from this leak, you are legally viable, and then TPC.
Yeah, it's a crime.
Damn.
I just want to state right now, the whole content regarding the stuff that we got is incredible. If you are a fan of all generations of games, from back to the SNES to current gen as is right now from Nintendo's era, this kind of content will blow your mind away. We've gotten, thanks to this, a lot of insanity came for Super Mario 64, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World, just to name a few, Star Fox, what else was there as well? Wario Land 4, the crown, one of Wario's greatest achievements right there, Wario Land 4. We actually managed to get the uncompressed sound font / soundtrack of Wario Land 4 now actually on YouTube. And it's not just only that, we also got uncompressed files of Super Mario 64. So we actually got to hear "So Long, Gay Bowser" uncompressed for the very first time in history, as well as the iconic "Do a Barrel Roll" from Star Fox 64, all uncompressed. It is incredible. You think that these kind of things are very minute, they don't really matter, but for those who are hardcore fans of these franchises and always wanted to see the behind the scenes of just how these games were made and what led to be what they are today, this is very historic for a lot of fans. This is the way for us to kind of, I guess, preserve history. Because you can never really trust a company that doesn't release these kind of things, and we don't know
to note that Blizzard lost the fucking source code for Diablo 1, and then it took somebody that found a copy of Diablo 1 source code on a PlayStation 1 Japanese disc to recreate the game. That tells you.
Yeah, and as well as from what I'm also told as well, with Kingdom Hearts in particular, if I'm correct, the first game, Square Enix lost the entire files for all that. So they had to remake Kingdom Hearts 1 from the ground up again for the HD remastering.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Also, we're giving too much power.
Yeah.
Also, a staff member over PM brought this to my attention. We had beta sprite leaks from Diamond and Pearl, right?
Yes.
Gen 4. So one of them is Darkrai, and Darkrai looks like an anorexic chicken. But that's not the case. If you look on its face, you see there's a weird S shape on its face.
Yeah.
And then somebody pointed out to me that the Japanese logo of movie 10 has that fucking S shape on it for the verses.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I
if
remember
I go
seeing that on
grab the
Twitter.
image right now, you can actually see it for yourself. So I'm gonna.
Well,
go
there's
grab
the
it.
M10 image. Yeah, the M10 image. The M10 logo.
It's actually pretty insane, only because of the fact that, well, that kind of tells you how far this game has sort of been connected to
Yeah.
what we're in right now with with the films, and it's incredible, man.
I talk with OLM employees sometimes. Since when? You telling me that?
Oh shit, TSS, we didn't know that. Holy shit! Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Tell me something I didn't know about myself.
Damn.
I
Wow.
didn't really care for, like, I saw the Arceus one, and I didn't really care for it at first.
The answer
And
is
then-
no. What I'm talking about is PM.net.
Oh,
When I refer to PM staffers, I'm talking about my our website. That's what I'm talking about. PocketMonsters.net. Visit us today.
Oh, here we go. There's the cover. I got the cover set here, so I'm gonna go and switch it right now. But what were you going on, Tyrone?
Oh, well,
About
I
Arceus?
saw Arceus, and I saw the beta one, and I did not like it at first. And weirdly, it's growing on me.
It's
I don't
the
know
fan
why.
art, man.
Yeah, it's weirdly. Yeah, it's the fan art because there's one.
Looks so derp.
There's a picture of Dawn at Spear Pillar, and she's staring it down, and I'm like,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
this makes it look pretty cool. Like,
And
I
kind of ominous too.
I kind of wish because we got Gen 2. I think Gen 2 and Gen 2 and Gen 4. I know there's probably little bits and pieces of other gens that got beta designs, but I know we got the bulk of them from Gen 2 and Gen 4. At this point, I kind of wish they would make a Pokemon movie based on the beta forms of the Pokemon. Like they enter an alternate dimension where these exist instead of the norm. I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, I know it won't happen. It's just something I really like because we have so many beta formed mons at this point. It's almost like they can make their own fake region or their own.
Or they can make quote unquote regional forms out of these fake
Yeah,
ones.
they could probably make regional forms out of them too. Yeah,
Specifically
now,
the Garchomp line, because we got like what that looks like a tiger shark that our buddy Doodlelot makes.
yeah, and they look butt ugly. All of them do, but that's only because they're the beta forms. They're not. They weren't worked on like the final product. They weren't finished up and touched up like the forms we
How
got.
dare you disrespect the Chad Probopass, because that's literally what it looks like. It's a Chad.
Or how about the Wobbuffet with the fucking
with the Jessie
swoop,
hair?
Yeah,
Yeah, with the
Wobbuffet did
Jessie hair.
Ash Greninja before Ash Greninja was even cool and existed.
But yeah, it's very clear, and I say butt ugly because the quality. Obviously the quality of the finished products looks better. It looks more touched up because they decided this was going to be the final design. I don't mean ugly as in just straight up ugly. I mean ugly as in terms of which you look at them and you know which one's clearly finished and which one isn't.
Yeah.
So when you look at them, you know they're not finished. Could you imagine what they look like finished? Yes, I do like the Rampardos and Cranidos one. That one actually looks really
come
cool.
on. How dare you skip over the legendary Torterra one, though?
Well, I didn't get to see the. Well, actually, I saw the Torterra one. I like the Cranidos and Rampardos one better.
No, I'm saying
That
the
looks
Torterra
legit
one is shit.
That looks legit cool.
Yeah, it looks derpy, but I like the Rampardos and Cranidos one. That's actually
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah.
yeah.
There were some other good ones too, you know.
The Comey one I did not like at all until I looked closer and realized that the bees have pacifiers in their mouths.
No, yeah, I didn't like it. It was ugly.
And then we got Vespi Queen, which is an alien
the
that looks
honeycomb?
Worse.
It looks like
Yeah, it
Cackletta
looks
from
bad.
from Mario and Luigi RPG, man. I
Yeah, it
swear
looks
to
pretty
God,
bad.
it looked like Cackletta.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad. I mean, yeah, it does look ugly, but when you see the pacifiers in the mouth, you go, "Huh, that's some charm in that."
Yeah. Now you can understand why it's called Combi. You know, like baby, comb.
Yeah. Prinplup looks butt ugly. I hated Prinplup.
It lost like that little part of its head that's supposed to be there.
Yeah, so it looks horrible. Like I didn't even like the Piplup line at first, the original design. So to see that design just made me go. Bleh.
Also, let's talk about the Virgin Regigigas as well.
God.
Like they had the Virgin Regigigas versus the Chad Probopass meme that was flying around the internet.
What did they do to you? Well, what were they gonna do to you?
Like I love it because somebody made a fan art of it where it's like the Reggies try to draw Regigigas and then it looks like the exact same pose design as the sprite work, and they gave it to Regigigas as like a thank you gift. And it was great. I love fan art like this because I feel like while in sprite they look bad, but when people's imagination come out at 110%, they can create some of the most entertaining and make you actually be like, huh, I kind of want to see these now in the actual show or in the actual anime or
Absolutely.
films, etc.
That's what happened to the original beta Pokemon of beta Pokemon's Missing No. Like people kept drawing like these weird concepts arts for what Missing No should look like, and it makes you more interested because it's like, huh, that's right. This thing is a Pokemon technically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that, man, that now exists in the world web. So we have many other details we can definitely go into as well. Like for example, I believe it was Hearthstone City or however you call it, where originally that was supposed to be a steel type gym.
Yes.
And then of course we skipped through other Pokemon that we didn't discuss, as the chat's mentioning, like Togekiss, who looks demonic as hell. Holy shit!
So weird.
If you ever wanted to see edgy evolution, Togekiss is there for you, buddy. It is such a drastic 180 from the Togekiss we have now currently. And then there are other ones like Shaman, for example. So, and Giratina. Oh my god, Giratina. What did they do?
Wait, I didn't get to see the Giratina one.
You never saw Beta Giratina? Hold on a second. Let me go get it for you real quick. I once again, I wish I could show you this, but, under rules, we can't.
Due to international copyright laws, we
yes,
cannot.
but basically, let me describe it this way for you folks who might have not got a chance to see it. Think of it as like a as somebody mentioned, like the Landorus form of that weird Pokemon from Unova, except it has a ball sack up front.
Oh my god! Oh, it's not finished. Put it back.
That's the first time I've ever heard you say that word, and I'd like to unhear it.
No, I'm sorry. This is what I'm just reading here in the Twitter
I'm
clip
looking
that
at
somebody posted.
Giratina now. Put it back in the oven. Oh, girl.
I've known Giratina since it came out the nutsack.
Yeah. Fuck.
Oh,
no, but
man.
once again, I love the creativity people are coming up with, because if you see fan art of this shit, it looks incredible. But when you see the sprite work, it looks derpy as hell, man.
Yeah, especially Arceus.
Yeah, like for example,
very
like here,
derpy.
look, I'm gonna copy this Twitter fan art image here into the Discord chat. Look at some of those designs right there that somebody went out of their way to make. They look better like that than they did via the
I didn't know
official
Obama
design.
Snow looked so different.
Thank you, Johnny, for the
Yeah.
clip.
Okay, I'm looking.
Oh,
at
see, now that's awesome.
Yeah, people, like I
Super
told you, when the
vivacious
creativity from
Cormanad.
artists come
Cool
into
story,
full
bro.
like throttle with some of these things, it can create some remarkable and incredible artwork that you wouldn't
Wait, can you
expect to
share
see.
Can you share at least the fans?
Holy
drop
shit.
or no?
Because
Okay,
it's
now I
based
see the
off illegal
Togekiss.
work.
That's dumb. Whatever.
But I'll retweet it. If you follow us on Twitter, though,
Yeah.
you'll get to see the retweets of it.
Somebody made a fan art Ken Sugimori style of the Gible, and it looks really good.
Yeah, so
Yeah, like I would. That looks legit.
That looks like a yokai, actually.
Oh, yeah.
that must be
did-
the
yeah.
work of a yokai.
It
Yeah.
must be a yokai.
Wow,
It's gotta
It
be.
looks.
That
It looks.
looks
It looks like.
crazy.
It looks like a deformed Jibanyan.
So why now? Why did they decide? Okay, we're gonna bust out all the
Junior.
G4 betas now.
Okay, so in case you're wondering, there was a breach that happened in Nintendo HQ.
Again?
And,
Damn,
no, but this isn't just a small one. No, this is a big one. This is a
Terabytes.
major breach. Because-
Terabytes of data.
Exactly, terabytes. We're talking about history here. To the point we even got stuff from the SNES days, as I stated before, with Yoshi's Island. They actually showed off through some of the stuff we received of beta baby Bowser. When it transforms into the giant beast that it is in the final level of Yoshi's Island. There was the beta design that somebody made, and it looks horrifying. If you were to put it in place with the other one, it looks demonic as hell. Here, I'll put it in the
Jeez.
backstage. I'll show you. That's the beta design right there. You know, and if you've seen the original one, you know, you'll understand as to the difference. And then somebody actually went out of their way to make a GIF that jump scared the shit out of me when I actually got it, when I watched it like at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'll just post it there as well. Just like imagine seeing that shit in animated format moving to you like that in the main game. I would never play a game ever after that.
Oh damn!
This would be my first and would be my last video game I'd ever touch had that Bowser sprite existed.
Oh shit!
It kind of
Yeah.
reminded me from Super Mario 2, the Yoshi Island one.
Yeah.
So it was like, because I remember like Baby Bowser, but then yeah, it's pretty similar to that.
That's a creepy pasta shit. I'll tell you that.
Luminon actually looks interesting.
Now, another thing as well, Yoshi had a lot of changes in Yoshi's Island as well. There was actually a level in that game where you transform into the helicopter that you're familiar with in Yoshi's Island. However, the big difference with that game is that Baby Mario goes to the back and grabs a bunch of missiles. You, as the Yoshi helicopter, go over there, pick up said missile, and bring it to you to a certain destination. And when you get to that destination, guess what you do? You drop the missile, and guess where it lands on? Houses.
Nice.
You're blowing up houses with
Got it.
missiles that belong to bandits.
Wow.
And I am shocked that that's even the thing. There was also a sprite as well that released a while back that had Luigi flip you off in Super Mario World.
What the heck?
I'm not kidding you. It legitimately, Luigi does flip you off.
I mean,
I want to see.
Yeah.
I know my friend would love that.
fuck all the haters, Nadia. Fuck all the haters.
Now, another thing as well, if anybody knows Banjo Pilot, this was something very interesting regarding that. Not too long ago, they talked a little bit about, like, since we're talking about betas and stuff about that. Banjo Pilot originally meant to have a lot of Super Mario characters included in it, such as Diddy, Peach, Mario, Cranky, DK, K. Rool, Yoshi, Wario, Bowser, Funky, Dixie, Toad, amongst others. Everyone except Luigi, unironically. So, yeah, it's stuff like that that's just going around the world. But I think the one thing, though...
You kept going. I was going to say Electro, Diglett, Knitter, and Magic.
No, but of course, the biggest one, the one we have yet to talk about, the thing that changed history in the world of video games. This is basically not a creepypasta, but think of a rumor that actually became real. We're going to be talking about, for now, L is Real 2401.
Not a creepypasta, but anomalous.
Now, back in the old days, I'm sure a lot of you here in the call might be familiar with the whole Pokemon truck gimmick that they had for Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Yeah, the Mew under the truck.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
exactly. So let's think of that, but it actually becomes real. And this is something that happened to Super Mario 64. Now, to kind of give clarification in regards to L is Real, apparently in one of the areas within the castle, a specific spot where all the boos reside, you will find a mural or some sort that has some text written on it, but it is very blurry to read. You can't exactly get an idea as to what it says. However, fans came up with the idea that it might potentially be saying L is Real 2401, indicating that there is supposed to be something Luigi related in Super Mario 64. So a lot of rumors and speculation came out through that L is Real debate. Unfortunately, as you might be well aware of, it was never real. There was never any Luigi texture, Luigi models, nothing Luigi related was ever shown off in any of the data that exists in Super Mario 64. All we knew back then was that Luigi was intentionally planned to have been a character to be used in a later update for Mario 64, which I think was for the Ultra 64, I think it was called. I forgot the name of the full thing, but that existed. So we never got to see that come into fruition, and therefore the only thing we got is simply Super Mario 64, just the game. Now, it wasn't until this week that people that breached into Nintendo's HQ and got all of those data, the terabytes of data that we talked about before, they released Super Mario 64's, original game files. And this is insane because it also gave us the idea as to when this game started development and when it ended development before actually releasing to the public for the first time, as well as sharing game files such as Wario as one of the game files, meaning that probably every copy of Mario 64 could have been personalized, as the internet was making rumors about. But the biggest mystery was unraveled from the files because it was confirmed from that file that Luigi was indeed real. There were models that existed in the files of Super Mario 64 and textures for Luigi as well, such as his mustache, his hat, everything, the color you can imagine. Everything was shown and revealed there. And guess what people went out of their way to do? They went and worked together within less than an hour after that had been revealed to the public. Fans managed to create Luigi. Like, they actually, like the whole Frankenstein thing? Yeah, they actually managed to resurface it from the dead. And they brought it to life. They went and did the head model. They did the textures. They did the body. We've always had this, fake build of Luigi for many, many decades now. But it wasn't until just earlier this week that, wow, we managed to actually get to witness the real Luigi design.
I feel like we cracked open a different dimension Nintendo this week.
Once again, we're in the year 2020, man. Anything is possible at this point. But here's the biggest twist of it all. Here is the biggest twist of this whole situation. I've talked about the whole L is real, but I forgot to say something regarding the number 2401. Here's the biggest twist of it all. 2401 was a number that fans were thinking that, maybe the game has to be on for 24 hours and 1 minute, or 24 hours and then 1 day. You get the idea. That's kind of been the speculation people have had. During the time that Luigi was revealed, it was approximately 24 years ago and 1 month. And if you put that together, 2401. That whole speculation about L is real 2401, it was never about the number of hours you had to play the game, or rather the number of coins and stars you had to collect. No, it meant years and months, because it took 24 years and 1 month to actually make L is real canon to the main world theories. And that to me is mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
We have broken...
Fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, we have broken the masses in terms of technology. It's so weird to just see.
I don't even know how to feel about this no more. What is gaming?
Not to mention the leak. We also mention the leak. We also got a planned MMORPG for the Fire Red Leaf Green era, from IQ, the Chinese company. So again, they had the potential, but never happened.
Right.
Man, this alternate universe, I feel, oh my God, I feel like if there's an alternate universe where all this stuff did happen, I feel like they're gonna greetings today on the Digipod or something, and they'll be like, we cracked open some new stuff on Nintendo. Here's what the beta forms look like, and it's just our Pokemon. And we found out Mario's real and Luigi 64, and this crazy shit that's gone down in this alternate dimension that's taking place. But it's really cool to figure all this out now. And I actually saw some of the clips today on YouTube where apparently it was supposed to be the Mario 64 was supposed to have, the co-op with split screen on it. But they couldn't do, for some reason, they stated they couldn't do split screen because that's what Luigi was supposed to be. He was supposed to be the co-op player number 2.
Well, also to
Mario
actually
does the levels.
Well, also you have to remember, if you look at Modern Vintage Gamers videos on the N64, especially with in regards to Mario 64 optimization, the biggest problem is the early dev kits for the N64 had a bad compiler. It had a lot of bugs in it. and also they didn't. And also the MIPS architecture is pretty. The R4300, which is the CPU, was very difficult to program with because it was basically like cut down silicon graphics hardware, SGI hardware that was used in the workstations at the time. That those we're talking about talking about cousins to the same machines that created Toy Story. Okay, so at the time it was very difficult to program for. So it wasn't until later titles like GoldenEye where we were able to get like split screen, even rare stuff with the Diddy Kong Racing, and even Mario. I mean, even Mario Kart. But Mario Kart was made later than Super Mario 64 in terms of development. So I'm guessing that the cartridge size maybe was the issue. I believe there was not enough data, or they didn't know how to program it properly.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what it is. But again, it all depends on the dev kits. Because obviously a dev kit from 2000 would be much more advanced than something from 1995, because we're talking about this game was in development since like 95. So the early ones would obviously, in the later ones, the dev kits were a lot easier to program. So that's one of the reasons why you didn't have many like split screen multiplayer games until like maybe a year or so after it came out. Yeah, Super Mario 64 came out in 96, but it was, I think, one of the first game. I think it was the first game that they actually developed with the hardware. Because you look at the launch title, Super Mario 64 was a launch title, obviously. Well, Mario Kart 64 came out a little bit later. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Few days. Vampire Princess came out a few days after I was born. I was 8 when.
Jesus Christ.
Actually, wait, was it? Yeah, it was 8 when the N64 came out, because I believe it came out in
96.
96.
but June 96.
That means I was about 4, probably 3 going on 4.
Let me see here. I just want to make sure here. June 23rd, 1996. So yeah, that was about a month after it turned 8.
Yeah, I was.
I didn't get my N64 until the summer of 98. Like August 98, August 98.
Yeah, and I know that Richie's in there 1 year old. Well, happy birthday, buddy. You're now more than that. You're 20
-1.
years. You're -1. So that means you're 24 years older than that now, bro. But for me, weirdly enough, for Mario 64, I didn't know much about it at all until my aunt on my dad's side, she was really young. She herself was a kid because of the age gap. So when I was like 4 or 5, she was like in maybe 10, maybe 12. Anyway, yeah, and she played Mario 64, and I would just watch her play it the whole time. And then eventually she gave me the Nintendo 64 when I got older. And I ended up playing that for majority of the time, that and Super Smash Brothers. And yeah, that's just the most I remember of the Nintendo 64 and Mario 64. Mario 64 is the first 64 game I played.
For me, it was Forsaken 64. Because Toys R Us had that for $30.
There's that gimmick that Nintendo loves where they put 64 at the end of every one of the 64 games.
I like N64. I have so many memories.
Mornox 86. Yeah, the Mario Kart games aren't the same like they were back in the 90s. Yeah, of course. I played Mario Kart 64 since like 97.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know how fun it is. And I didn't even play the original Super Mario Kart until much later, probably late 2000s.
Oh, wow.
Because most of the time I would be playing the 64 because that's what I had. And still to this day, still enjoy the game. Like, I will just bust it out and play because it's just so fun. Now, there are people that would do like Mario Kart Wii and that's
Yeah.
fine, and especially with like in terms of modding, because Mario Kart Wii. I know that there's one Australian guy that's been working on getting 24-player online multiplayer to work, which has been working.
I apologize, I'm back.
But
Yeah.
yeah, just to finish off with the Mario Kart stuff. Mario Kart 7 was fun for its time. The DS was fun for its time. The DS one was the first one that really pushed the online. So, and then with Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U and then the Switch, that just continues, freaking just having fun with Mario Kart. But it used to be like,
Didn't we get models of the some of the enemies and other stuff too for that game for Mario 64? Like I know the King Bomb that's supposed to fight you or whatever. All those
it's like a mini version of that.
Yeah, the bully bombs that were supposed.
They actually grab you and then they chuck you. It's kind of like pre-beta chucksters.
They look like Wally robot.
Yeah, they look like mechanical bombs or
with hands, bombs, and that's very scary.
They look like robots that you would see on Wally.
There were like a lot of things were found in there. Like originally, as I stated before, Wario was apparently a file in there, which, as you know from recent stuff that was happening not too long ago about how there was the Wario apparition or whatever it was called. Whereas like Wario says like, you want fun? Wario show you fun. And then Wario would try to slowly chase Mario down this never-ending hallway while you just hear ominous noises play in the background. That was another theory that existed, saying that every copy of Super Mario 64 was personalized. But now Wario was, in fact, a file, meaning that Wario might have been intended for Super Mario 64 sometime later down the road before Super Mario 64 DS was even a thing.
And the funny part about that isn't all of the characters that are there with obviously Yoshi, we see him at the end of the game, but all those characters are playable in the 64 DS version, aren't they?
It's
Wario, Luigi, Mario, Yoshi.
Yeah, those four are playable. So it shows you how far back they've intended to do something like this.
And I want to just respond to two things. So Mornox also says, when will Mario games be fun and challenging again? The modders will make it fun again.
Oh, if you want to talk about modding, go play Mario Kart Wii. Sometimes I tend to play with my friends. We do the Thomas the Tank Engine runs sometimes, and
and also Donnie asks, or states, if the Stellaview stuff gets leaked, dude, if the Stellaview stuff gets leaked, that means we could get to hear the freaking like the podcast that Rika was on, the radio programs that Rika Matsumoto was on, like in '95 and stuff. Like you could find that on YouTube, by the way. But that would be pretty cool if we find like more of the games being leaked. There have been games from the Stellaview leaked in the past, like they're part of some of the SNES ROM sets. But that'll be cool if there's other things like the radio broadcasts and stuff.
Yeah, and given that there is terabytes of data, who knows what other things we can unravel in the next couple of weeks, months, years. So much of history can be preserved thanks to this. It is, of course, illegal, so it kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit, only because it's like, I love this, but at the same time, the way they got this isn't exactly the way I had hoped it would, be. But what can you do? This is just something that now exists, and therefore people are going to talk about it, and that's just how life works in social media.
And as I mentioned a few months back when we first got some of the stuff from the leaks, don't expect any of the emulator devs that are going to take advantage of this, because they can't do that, because they're doing it as a black box instead of a white box, where they will create emulation, or they'll fix the emulation by not looking at the technical documentation, because once you admit that you use technical documentation, classified documentation, your project can get shut down.
Exactly. So, even if it's an emulator, but you're stealing somebody else's FPGA data and calling it your own.
Someone could easily just take the technical documentation and then make FPGA implementation out of it, but nobody's going to do that because it's illegal. So
yeah,
right.
Switching topics for a bit, just only because KG and Nessa, I think you two will probably want to hear this as well, because obviously we three have been playing this game. Paper Mario, the Origami King. If you have, apparently Tetris 99 is doing a Paper Mario Origami King theme.
Yes.
So that's going to be pretty cool. And since I want to talk about this briefly too, because Paper Mario came out a while ago. Well, Evie, did you play it too?
What game?
Paper Mario, the Origami King.
You were clearing your throat. I thought you were going like, I played it too. But
I sure have, my boy. No, I haven't played it yet.
Okay, but we three have played it. Obviously, you guys have played it on your own time, and every time I play it, it's been on stream. I've been taking the KG route that he took with Pokemon Shield, where the only gameplay I've played of it is on stream. And I gotta say, I'm loving the game so far. I know, Nessa, you said you beat the game earlier, but I'm loving what I'm getting so far. The writing itself is keeping me invested in it. To believe that this is, what installment of Paper Mario is this at this point?
I believe
the fifth or sixth. It's the sixth.
Let me count it. Paper Mario, Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, Paper Mario Sticker Star, Paper Mario Color Splash, and then Paper Mario the Origami King. If you want to count Paper Jam, which doesn't count, it's a Mario and Luigi game. That exists though. So.
Oh, that's the Crossroads one.
Yeah, the crossover one.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the sixth installment, I gotta say, I'm so proud of them for being able to keep this consistently good writing. Like, I'm loving every line that the Toads, the enemy, everybody, the most insignificant character winds up having something really cool and interesting to say. And what I honor about it the most, just coming from someone who does jokes and comedy and stuff, they keep it clean. Like, that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. Clean comedy, in some cases, is harder than just regular comedy, because clean comedy, you gotta keep it clean, you gotta maintain it, and just little things like the Goomba going, "Oh snaps, it's Mario! I can't believe he's here! I can't believe I'm at the Princess Peach's castle! I get to meet Toad!" And then he gets turned into a folded soldier, and he's like, "I never got to meet Toad," and then it's just,
that's probably funny.
Yeah, it's just this great moment. He's great. I like when Mario and Luigi get there, and Luigi's like, "Hey, you say hi to the princess for me. I'm gonna go park the car. I don't want to pay the valet." And I'm just like, really, Luigi? You guys are famous in the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm sure you can cover it. And I don't know. It's really great to just see all these things. And Mario's had various sidekick characters before, Cappy, that little Navi thing that's in Super Paper Mario, tons of like little side characters to help him out, be his guide.
Yeah.
Olivia, as of right now, obviously things can change, but Olivia, as of right now, is my favorite guide character out of all of them. She's great.
Wait, how far did you get into the recent playthrough?
Well, right now I'm on the second. I just got done beating the Water Elemental.
Okay, did you by any chance interact with or meet with a certain character yet?
Well, I got Babam, and I literally just got done with the Water Elemental. Like, I'm saved right outside his shrine.
Okay. So you got a chance to meet Bobby.
You still have a long way though, because I know the next part.
Yeah, that's the downside, and that was what KG had to go through too when he streamed Pokemon Shield. That's the downside of restricting yourself to the to the streams. Is that you can only play it during the streams. That's why I've been making an effort to make the average playthrough of the Paper Mario ones about 4 to 5 hours. That way I can fit more time in it. I'm trying to do it more than just once a week. So I'm actually pretty surprised I'm this far into it. But yeah, and Nessa, I'm sure you and KG got a lot to say because you guys actually finished the game. Without spoiling, is there anything you guys want to go?
I really wish. I really wish you had gone further, man. I'm just saying we would have been talking about
I have a limited time.
I know, but trust me, I'm not going to say anything. In fact, I guarantee you probably next week, if you continue to play in the pacing that you're going, we're going to have a lot to talk about next week.
I'm sure we will. Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Okay, so I want to know something from you three. So as a video gamer who played the first Paper Mario game on the 64, are how high will you recommend Origami King?
See, the thing is, I recommend it for the writing, the humor, and the music.
Yeah.
The
All the
gameplay,
music's
on the
amazing.
other hand, it can be fun, but it only depends on how you approach it. Because the thing about it is, there really is no incentive to fight in this game.
Yeah, you can skip enemies, and I'm actually trying to do that during the streams to make it faster. And then I'll
Yeah.
fight enemies.
Yeah,
I'll fight enemies to get their coins off screen.
I'm actually not a fan of the bosses battles, like the way they had it set up, because you have to go in the boss battle. You have to figure out like, oh, we're line up the arrows and to get to the right area, and also of course like in the beginning you gotta like try to take much hints as you can because they don't tell you like, oh, where's the weak spot for that boss.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, and so I know there's a couple of them I struggled with because certain boss battles gets harder.
Yeah.
And then you're forced to like, you only have like a limited time, and they're like, you got to find the right path. Otherwise, if you don't, then the boss battle could take forever.
My dumb ass cheating and spinning like a
like one of the boss fights I did have, I'm not gonna spoil which one it was, but I think it took me like 45 minutes just to beat the freaking boss. And
they can go long if you don't know what you're doing. The game tries to help you and hints and stuff like that via the treasure chest that you can collect to kind of tell you what you do. Honestly, though, it can get very difficult, and also given how much limited time you have to move all the wheels and everything. You will find yourself in some very tight situations. And
I definitely will say it's an interesting and creative concept to use this like wheel puzzle thing. I'm stupid, so unfortunately, I have some bad times with the puzzle and just.
I don't know, man, because sometimes the more difficult the puzzle can be for a person, the more entertaining and satisfying it can be when you actually accomplish it too.
Yeah, I know some of the puzzles that you're doing now, though, like for the boss or not the non-boss fights, the regular fights. Like they get progressively harder, and then like, I think maybe like only a few of them I was able to get like a perfect because I could easily see it, but then a lot of them when there's like too many characters at once.
Yeah, your eyes start playing tricks on you.
Yeah, and then you realize, oh, I only just need to move 2 times, and it fixes itself.
I think one of my biggest problems is that sometimes on these I'm thinking too hard. Like sometimes I'm thinking the enemies need to be lined up in hammer formation when they actually need to be lined up in jump formation, and I'm just like, oh, well, shit.
Well, actually, you can dictate how it's going to be.
Line them up.
Yeah, you can.
You can actually figure out how to line them up because sometimes they have like those little red marks on their heads. If the lines are going horizontal, that means it's a jump formation, whereas if it's going vertical, I believe it's a hammer formation.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about all of that when I'm on the clock.
No, but just keep that in mind. But just another thing, though, I'll say this for the fighting. It is repetitive when you're fighting out in the wild. When you can run away from them, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I will say the fights are more satisfying when I know that I'm going to earn something out of it. As in, if I beat this enemy, that means I can progress a little further and move on into the next area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when it have meaning.
Yeah, when it has meaning, when it's like, oh, if you have to beat this enemy so you can go further.
Yeah.
Like because of that, it's like, okay, now I have an incentive to fight this boss, and therefore the fights in itself are more satisfying. The ones that are just out in the wild itself that they have no real meaning to them don't mean much in the end because all they do is just give you coins and some other little miscellaneous things that you might get out of it too. So
I feel like that. With that being said, though, I feel like there's a way to speed run this without running into any required enemy encounters.
No, there will be required ones because they activate.
No, I'm saying outside of the required ones, I feel like there's somebody's going to be out there going, "Can you beat Mario without running into the optional?" enemies?
Oh, it's possible. I'm just curious as to how long that will be. But honestly, though, the writing once again and the music, the pacing, and the storytelling all really do a phenomenal job in creating a fascinating world to the point that I legitimately cried at the end of the game. I'm gonna say right now, I legitimately cried at the end of the game, especially when you learn.
Oh shit! I'm not ready to cry.
Yeah, especially with
emotional.
When you see the story as is. When you see the story as is without really looking into all the writing and all the details, you'll miss out on a very major point of the game that makes it so emotional. And honestly, this game, I genuinely feel bad for one character, the main character of the story. I won't say why, but I really, really feel bad for Mario in this story.
Mhm.
Like, I think he has it hard. Like you ever those video games where it's like, oh yes, I completed the game, but you get like the saddest ending of all time with that character. Yeah, that's what Mario
Mm-hmm.
felt like with this game. I
Yeah.
won't
Yeah.
say what led to it, but it is emotional.
Yeah, you have to beat the game.
Yeah. Also, by
Okay.
the way, make sure to 100% it as well.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a pretty good job of 100%ing stuff and finding all the codes and trophies.
I could tell you right now, though, probably on your first run, you're not going to be able to do 100% because there's like certain things. I right now rediscovering certain things now after I beat the game that I couldn't do in the beginning. So there was like one I remember, like you remember the little camp area, Tyrone, that when you're playing there in your stream, and then you're wondering why like there's no fire.
Yeah.
So apparently, when you once you beat the game, though, you'll be able to light up the campfire because there's. But you had to get that. So, but yeah, that was like one of them I remember I ran into. So I'm trying to do the 100% now. But I know in the first run you're not going to.
Yeah, you won't be guaranteed 100% at the first try, I believe.
Yeah.
If you don't go back, of course. But
Yeah, you gotta backtrack a lot.
the thing about it, though, that I like with the 100%, it's a very small thing. I'm just going to say this right now. It is a very small little detail that you get for 100%ing. But it is such a bittersweet ending. I'll say that right now. It is a very bittersweet ending. And it has something to do with the ending scene of the game and what they add to it in the finale. So I won't say what it is, but try to 100% it. Nessa, if you ever get a chance to 100% the game, go back over there and you'll completely understand what I mean with the finale. They do something that's very touching.
I mean, and obviously I let guests onto my stream, so between you and KG, I'm sure I'll be able to find a way to 100% everything.
No, don't worry. If there's something that we can spot that you missed or something, we'll do our best to let you know.
Three sets of eyes are better than just one.
Exactly. But another thing, I guess just for Paper Mario stuff, music's great.
Finish it also we can go to the.
There's a song, rather, there's a level. I don't know if Nessa will agree with me with this one, but given your enjoyment of a particular genre, Tyrone, you will get an absolute kick out of it. There is a song in here that I did not think I would hear, especially hear a remix of, from a particular. I won't say anything further than that. It's just something I never expected, but I think you would enjoy, Tyrone. I won't. You'll probably get to it at some point later down the road. So, or maybe you did. But I had to watch your recent playthrough of Origami.
I know the one with the tree. I know the groovy one with the tree was actually really good. I like.
The tree one was great.
Yeah,
he's like. I went back there today actually, and hearing I was like, oh, yeah, that those trees are so damn happy.
Yeah, just kicking it. That was cool.
Like, yeah, they just vibing, man.
Yeah,
and I guess.
So if you want my recommendation, just to have a nice story to tell and have fun, I would get the game. Because like I got the game for curiosity's sake. Like curiosity, this was the most curious game I ever purchased. Because Paper Mario, for some reason over the years, and I'm gonna be fast with this one because we got an episode to talk about. Paper Mario over the years, for some reason, has gotten this like. Once it comes out, and then nobody talks about it ever again. It was like 1,000 Year Door was like the jam. Everybody loved 1,000 Year Door. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, when Paper Mario came out, people would talk about it like the day it came out, and then they would never hear from it again. And I'm like, what's going on? Why are all these Paper Mario games, especially Color Splash, not being recognized? What's happening? I thought Paper Mario was super good. And then I heard that Origami King was coming out and nobody talked about it. So I was just like, is it that bad? And then when I went to the store, I only saw one copy. Just one.
Man.
In the drawer. And I'm just like, you know what? I think this is a sign I need to get the game.
I'm very happy you did because it's a really good game. And honestly, it is selling well. I believe it sold the highest amount from the new era of Paper Mario, more than Color Splash did for sure.
I'm guessing
was Color Splash
talk about it a lot.
Was Color Splash from the Wii U?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay, that's probably why I never played it because I didn't. There's a couple of Paper Marios I didn't play. I played mostly N64 and GameCube one, but After
Yeah.
that, like I never owned a Wii and the
I have
Wii
a
U.
copy. Yeah, I have a copy of the Wii one, the Super Paper Mario. I think what turned people off on that one, they stopped doing the RPG like turn-based thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's pretty good considering that Origami King, the announcement itself hasn't been that long ago, hasn't it?
No.
No.
It literally, yeah, it came out
Like weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, it came out about weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
so
it's, I think right now
kinda crazy,
the game.
but
I think
it's pretty good, too.
gameplay wise, hour wise is about. You're gonna get at least a good like 24, 30 hours in.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you are going out of your way to 100% it for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely that's not including 100%. I'm pretty sure it'd be
Yeah,
a lot
Comic
longer.
Cartoons brings it up best. This is the best of the modern Paper Mario series post RPG style. This is the best
Alright.
writing, best storytelling, best music, best everything, I think, and best emotional.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It did yesterday. One of the scenes that my friend's actually going a rough time actually, and that one scene she had to stop playing the game because she was like, no, like she got like she's like I was not expecting to happen, and I had to turn off my game after she witnessed that scene. I was just like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah. I was that was one of the scenes that messed me up too, but I was trying not to spoil it for you, so that's why I didn't say anything. So I'm waiting for her to finish, but I think she's probably taking a breather from that game for right now, sadly. So
All right,
wait.
well, I appreciate your guys' opinions on the game.
Yeah,
but try it out. I think you'll get a good kick out of it. It's a really great Paper Mario game.
I recommend it. Yeah.
One last thing though, before we get to the review, because I did initially plan on talking about this before, only because the whole gimmick behind it is actually incredible. Dragalia Lost on the mobile devices has recently gone through an update, and they have announced not too long ago a brand new event that's going to be happening in just a couple of hours. Now, the reason why I want to bring this up is because when I saw the trailer for it, first of all, the song is an absolute bop. If you ever want to hear some good anime songs, that game is the game for you, man. I'll post a link to the trailer for you guys here in the call so you can take a listen to it if you want to. But the other thing that I want to talk about is the trailer's gimmick. Now, I don't know how many of you guys might be familiar with a particular franchise of murder mystery known as Danganronpa. If you might know.
Yeah, I know Danganronpa.
All right, so think of Dragalia Lost having a summer event, and it's Danganronpa, the game. Basically, the whole gimmick of this new event that's coming is that characters in the story are actually dying one after the other. And there is a particular character in it known as Carmen, who is basically playing a game, but using the lives of the characters as the pieces. And day by day, they have to figure out who the culprit is amongst the group. However, the biggest twist of it all is that everybody in the story, so far that we've seen, are all characters that we've grown attached to. So the real question now begins to make you think, who is the murderer in the cast of characters? It's a Danganronpa Dragalia Lost event without really being a Danganronpa event, you know? So I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. It's going to be coming out in just a few hours. I can't wait to play it and see what the whole storyline is going to be about, especially because some of my favorite characters are going to be in this particular event. Patia, Amane, Sinoa, Norwin, just to name a few. They're going to be presented in this particular event. So I'm very excited.
This sounds a lot like Clue the movie, only in Dragalia Lost World.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody remember this as well from the middle school. Maybe you might have read this back then. There was a particular book called And Then There Were None. Yeah, think of it like that, but now for video games. So that's pretty much what it is. It's a mystery horror themed event.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
All right, so what do you guys think then? You guys planning to work on into the review then, folks?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep, let's get into it.
Alrighty then. So
let
me go and prepare things up here real quick because I accidentally forgot to actually put the image as we were doing this. So oopsie me.
Whoops.
There you go. So the question is, was Pikachu able to finish up his fucking Whopper?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But it's like, but it's more like, I see you, Pika, shaking that ass, shaking that ass, shaking that ass. You know,
I did not care for that joke at all.
It's like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at
Nothing
all.
at all.
I
Okay,
already made
Stupid
that. I already
sexy
made that
fingers.
joke. A long time ago.
Well, good man. You're a culture man.
All right, then.
Yes.
So let's get to it, then, ladies and gents. Let us now go and talk about this recent episode of PM 2019. Yes, I'm going to put the image we did last week, of course. This to me is probably going to be one of the most controversial talks of all time. I thought the Karina episode was bad. Nah, this one I think is going to go above and beyond that in terms
All right.
of very
Scared.
divisive review.
I'm just gonna sit back and listen to y'all.
Seatbelts ready because
I'm not gonna say anything right now. I'm gonna just keep myself mute. I really want to hear what everybody has to say though regarding their review. So I'm gonna pass it to any of you guys here in the call who really want to give it their opinions on it. I know Polly's here, Nessa's here, Evie's here. I really want to hear your opinions on it because I have my pieces to say, but I would love to hear you guys go first just to see what everyone has to say.
I say ladies first on this one.
All right, then. So let's see who wants to go first. Then you two.
Do you want to go first, Nessa?
And you
I kind of want to gather
because you're like you have way more to say.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How do you mean?
The floor is yours.
Okay.
You were like so excited yesterday, so
Yeah. Okay. So I tend to do that a lot. I was up late last night talking to Terrell about this episode and just about PM19 in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where I'm gonna make an analogy of when I saw Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker last year. Now I know there might not be a lot of there might not be a lot of Star Wars fans in this chat right now.
I'm one.
But okay, when I saw that movie, I came out of it loving it. Like I was on top of the world. And then a few days later, I was like, there's things that really could have been better executed. And that's kind of how I feel. Like the way I see it is with this episode, I knew it was going to be polarizing because it's all about what you like in an episode. I tend to gravitate more towards the nostalgic moments. I really appreciate all the little callbacks the writers chose to use in this episode, whether it was Mr. Mime, Pikachu, like electrocuting the Spearows, like and the callback to episode 1, or I don't know, just I'm like blanking on everything. There's just so much that they did. And obviously I cried like throughout the entire episode because of the scene with Delia singing to Pikachu. I've like that really stuck with me. I feel like I know a lot of stuff, a lot of plot, didn't really like progress in this episode, but I think it's one that kids watching it are going to have a big impression on them, because I remember when I was a kid and I'd watch cartoons, it was always like these sad episodes, maybe when people argue, but then at the end they grow to appreciate each other and they just kind of lose their way for a second and then they reconcile. Like those episodes in particular are ones that have really had a big effect on me. And I just thought it was refreshing that they chose to just do something with Ash and Pikachu. I think my only criticism, and you guys might agree with me on this, because I know not everybody agrees with me, is that I wish that this episode had been done in a previous series. I think it really should have been done.
No, I agree with that perfectly, actually.
Yeah. Like, this should have been done, like, maybe in the Johto series.
Yeah,
I think I
agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Those are pretty much...
literally my thought process.
Yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts. So I don't want to go too far into anything like specific. So those are my general.
Well, Nessa,
go ahead.
I was like, I'm actually probably like I actually liked the episode, to be honest. Because I actually, of course, like the back of my mind, I was like asking why all of a sudden, like, what made Pikachu jealous all of a sudden? Like, it's kind of like so left field because it's something. I guess like Ash and Pikachu's relationship, to be honest, are really tested in sake. So then I kind of went into it like, hey, I'm just gonna turn all that off, just watch the episode without like thinking about it. And then I ended up enjoying it more than I realized, because I guess I wasn't expecting some of these scenes, like first of all, the beginning of the episode, I was not expecting that big guy who was in PM18. I think his name is Tony. I was not expecting to see him. I was like, that was my first impression. I was like, holy shit. I was like, wait, I was not expecting him to come back and then battling Ash, which ended up raising more questions, but I'm just like, okay. But then also too, I also want to punch Ash in the face because he's flag ignoring Pikachu, which I was just like, okay. That's kind of like out of character for him. And then Pikachu, and then afterwards he calls Pikachu lazy. After Pikachu probably waiting for hours to get his turn. So I'm kind of wondering from that point right now if that issue is going to be addressed with Riolu, because it seems like Riolu wants to take all that spotlight, and then none of the other Ash's Pokemon are able to shine. So I wonder if that is going to be brought up in the later episodes, but I could be wrong. And so I was like, okay.
Thank you, Dill.
And then as the episode, and then, but actually in this whole entire episode, though, Doodlelot was actually MVP to me for this one, because I would probably already mention, like, I love the lullaby scene. I was like, that was probably one of my favorite moments in the episode, and also though she was being, and then she kind of treated Pikachu as like her, kind of like how she treats Ash too, like kind of as her baby. She's like, oh, you're such a little baby, like kind of like just remind him of Ash, and also it seems like since she's giving more attention to Pikachu, it's natural that he will go back to her, all the way back to Pallet Town, not realizing what he'd done. So I enjoyed all the moments with Pikachu and Mr. Mime. When they were able, I think they have like about 3 to 5 minutes in the episode. They're like, where they're trying to like traveling together, and then I wasn't expecting homage from the first episode.
Yeah.
Where like when Pikachu was electrocuting the Spearow, and then Mr. Mime was playing the Ash's part, which kind of made her remind. I wasn't expecting that. So that was I actually enjoyed that scene.
I kind of was when they were traveling through Pallet Town and the Spearow showed up. Once the Spearow showed up, I was like, here we go.
Actually, too, I'm not sure if you guys noticed though, as they were traveling too, there was a couple scenes that it was really familiar to me from the past episodes. Like I know that one scene where that garden, it reminded me from like when Go and Reboot were there.
Yeah.
So they have a couple callbacks too from that previous the previous couple episodes ago. So I was kind of like, oh cool, like continuing as well. So there was a lot of cool moments. But then and then finally at the end though, when Ash and Pikachu made up, I was kind of surprised that Koharu of all people was telling Ash off about how he wasn't able to detect I guess his feelings, like Pikachu was feeling upset and jealous, and then I was like, so that's when, and then I love the touching moment towards the end, and then Ash and Pikachu doing the lullaby together, which I love. So those parts I enjoy. So that was when my brain turned off, but once I turn on, it just creates more questions. Then like more questions, like okay, so why like all of a sudden, like we mentioned, why does Pikachu and Ash all of a sudden, like Pikachu gets jealous all of a sudden, like why? And what there's just then also why was Ash though flat out ignore Pikachu? Like I thought that was weird, to be honest.
So my thoughts on the whole thing. So again, I'm going to look at it from a positive light because, to be honest, there's some people that are looking way too deep into this shit. Like freaking Nessa has said, they're looking way too deep into this shit.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
Because
it doesn't sound like it's that bad of an episode.
It is not. I would actually rate it better than the last one. I would actually rate it as an 8. Because
for me, it's a good episode and a bad episode. And I'll
explain. But you have to. But I came into this again with the notion that there's gonna be some reintroduction of the backstory, because let's just put a few things out the window first. So the whole Pokemon World Championships rank up battle. First of all, Satoshi ranks up to 901, so we get that sort of plot progression with the story. So, but the thing is, though, Riolu is the one being a jackass here by wanting it. It's so focused on training, and it's like pulling Satoshi to the other side, and that's why Pikachu is feeling jealous. So in that case, Riolu should be the freaking bad guy in the whole thing.
Mhm.
Then when you go into then when Hanako shows up. By the way, Sakuragi does not call Hanako by her name, and that's the whole point. They have not called Hanako or Satoshi's mother by her real name since XY or even Best Wishes. Like it's been several series because she's always been referenced as Satoshi no Mama, or as Sakuragi called her, Mama-san. So that's or Kasan. So that's another aspect. The other thing is, so I was expecting Hanako to sing like Oyasumi Boku no Pikachu, but then I realized that is a Pikachu record song and they do not have the licensing for that anymore.
I knew it. I knew there was something.
Yeah, because that's the thing. That's a Pikachu record song and they did not rewrite that. Technically the lyrics and stuff are owned by like Hip Tanaka. So again, that's freaking Pikachu record stuff. But then with the I think the thing is, Hanako had to explain what the hell happened with Pikachu because we had to have a backstory to call back to the original episode 1 because that's obviously the first time that Go and Koharu are hearing the backstory. So that's what it is, and then Pikachu is reaffirmed by Hanako that, well, he chose you because he loves you. You know, it's like all that stuff. And then after that whole sequence, when Hanako leaves and Satoshi ignores him, then that's when pretty much he decides, oh, I'm gonna run away. Now, some people will call this pointless because the whole point of the matter was Pikachu had to learn its lesson. Now, we did get some nice scenes, like freaking, we saw like the Oshawott in the car and stuff like that, which, Easter eggs basically. My favorite part is the hitchhiking part. Some people don't like that. Well, not only because it's freaking AMV fodder, but it's also because I really liked the woman who was driving the Daihatsu midget. Yes, that's what it's called. It's one of those little tiny trucks. Or if you're from like Australia, you're gonna call it a ute or something like that. But she had the real rural Kanto Japanese accent.
You guys
I
don't
was
think the
that,
same because I was
actually,
going to bring this up at some point. That's so weird.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that actually. So I was like, oh, cool. Because I
so
noticed
that's
her
dialect. The dialect, the dialect.
I love
the dialect is like the rural Kanto Japanese dialect, like the real part of Kanto in Japan, like the farmer dialect in Kanto. So that was a cool touch. Also, at the crossroads, you see a sign. Now, one of them has the Dodrio on it, and the other one has, what is it? The Beedrill, right? Or the what was the other Pokemon? Because I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Because one of them, the Weedle on it. So the one on the right was going towards Viridian Forest. The other one was going towards Pallet.
Yeah, I actually like that little touch there because when I saw the Dodrio, I was like, oh, that's Pallet Town.
Yes. Like, so again, it's like there's so many freaking callbacks that you have to like stop and pause and look through it. So now the $64,000. Now we go towards the end of the episode. So now so we've talked about freaking Maimi and Pikachu freaking walking through. Pikachu gets hungry. And I like the scene where Mime is just like freaking pulling pulling Pikachu, dragging him along, which is another callback to episode 1, by the way. Those are the things that people don't recognize either. I like that. I like the Spearow callback as well, because that jump started the memory for Pikachu. So that was great as well. The other moment that I would like to shed light on is Dogasu mentioned this as well. Just before the hitchhiking scene started, or as the hitchhiking scene started, you see Mime Jr. or Manene appear over Mimey's head. And the reason why is Manene, is to imitate. So it's like, okay, he sees a guy that's going to hitchhike, and he's going to imitate to try to get, to their destination. So that was the other thing. So now when it becomes the evening, finally get back to, Satoshi's residence, and then Pikachu just has a change of heart. He's like, oh no, I want to go back. So he wanted to go all the way the fuck back to Sakuragi Lab just for this. And then Satoshi just runs out of the house and realizes what he did wrong. But I think though, this was the episode to really get into Pikachu's mindset. I think that was the whole point. And, some people will say, okay, the whole off-screening of Koharu, give him a freaking earful, give Satoshi an earful, it would have been more of an entertainment. But I think though this did a lot more impact, and it was probably more entertaining. I mean, would you? There's going to be lots of questions. What would you rather see? Koharu freaking blowing her stack off for 35 seconds, or seeing a whole adventure? I'd rather take the adventure.
With that, it's less about the episode and more just frustration with Koharu, like in general. But
yeah,
no, I could.
Also, I'm pretty sure you two would appreciate a lot there, but I'm pretty sure you guys love the background music in this episode.
Oh, I was gonna. That's the other thing. Hayashi. That's the scene where. I'm sorry. I know that we have like a bunch of other people who want to talk. I just want to mention this one thing.
No, go right ahead. Don't worry. It's
Hayashi. Gave me like a lot of Miyazaki vibes in that last track, and I think Filippo cleaned it up and uploaded it. If anybody wants to check it out.
Right.
And during the scene where Ash and Pikachu reunite again and reconcile again, and I just I've listened to it multiple times. It's just so emotional. It really, really brings me back to Miyazaki's original tracks,
like old school season 1 days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not the goofy dumb stuff, the emotional.
What's that song? The one where everybody, the one they normally play at the end of every episode.
A meeting and parting.
Yeah, that one. That's what it's like. It's like a variation of that. This could be a song that they could use at the end of every episode if they wanted to.
But to really finish off my point, that is, I still think that a lot of people are overreacting. And I personally don't think that this would have worked in the earlier series, considering that they would have had to call back to they would have to do the build up and call back to the original series, and they weren't going to do that in earlier series. Since this technically has the same damn title as the 1997 series, I think it was the right time to actually do something like this. So you gotta take that into perspective. So how's the Japanese TV ratings? The Japanese TV ratings have sucked since Sun and Moon went to the Sunday slot. And unfortunately, we're not going to see that because, as I mentioned many times previously over the last couple of years, once this happened, it's going up directly head-to-head to Chibi Maruko-chan. And since the mangaka died like a year and a half ago at this point, they were not able to, people are going to be watching Chibi Maruko-chan more than Pokemon. So most of the views now are going to be done on demand, so they don't count those in the ratings.
Interesting.
Well, Tyrone, I think you're next, Tyrone.
Evie, you want to go?
Well, I haven't quite seen the episode.
Jesus Christ, Evie!
No, listen, man. We have to watch our anime for the anime pod. You know
I feel
that.
bad because I feel like I'm spoiling it for him every weekend. But
Tyrone, everybody else spoiled it before you did.
Twitter spoiled it.
All
anyway.
right,
It's not like I don't have Twitter.
Okay,
Yeah,
hear my
right.
all right then. Hear my dumb
Thank you,
ass
though.
go. Yeah, hear my dumb ass go, because here I come. Everyone's
Here
gonna
I come on
All right,
cinnamon.
let me grab my popcorn.
everyone's gonna call me the negative Nancy, which I proudly hold. And that's fine though.
Okay,
because I'm not-
Karen.
I wanna make the disclosure really, really clear right now. Because I know TSS and I usually have opposing thoughts sometimes on some of these episodes in particular. I am negative, but it's not me being negative for the sake of fuck this series. No, I actually enjoy Pokemon Journeys / Pokemon 19. My thing is, the reason I'm the way I am when I review these, and I was this way with X and Y too, I'm critical because I give a shit.
Mhm.
I look into this because I care. I analyze this because it's not my job. I want it to be my job, but I analyze it because that is what I do. You. At the end of the day, yes, it's a cartoon, but cartoons, anime, whatever you call it, they have proven thousands of times that they can be much deeper than they appear. So as a reviewer, I feel like I need to look deeper into it than it appears, right? Under that logic, I feel like that's a thing that needs to be done. Now, with that being said, this episode is simultaneously the best and worst episode I've ever seen in my life. In terms of Pokemon Journeys, at least. Reason being, and TSS, you pointed this out, they made a lot of callbacks, but you want to know what that means? That means we have to judge Ash and Pikachu on the other stuff that they call back to, which means, and someone pointed this out on Twitter, I'm sorry if I don't remember your name, but you did point out and you brought a good point to the table. Ash's character took a plummet in this episode. They turned Ash into a jackass for this episode alone. And even Sun and Moon, a series that I didn't stick around for a lot. From what I saw, they made him better in a similar situation. They made a comparison where Mokoro, aka Rowlet, was in a situation where it wanted to keep fighting, or Pikachu wanted to fight, but I think Mokoro wanted to fight, and Ash sort of had Mokoro take a backseat for Pikachu, one of the two, vice versa. Point is, he took another Pokemon's feelings into consideration. And he was able to use that. So we're not even talking about like way back. We're talking about recently. And this type of attitude that Ash is taking on Pikachu right now is so not this season. It could be acceptable in the older seasons. Kanto, Johto, hell, maybe even Hoenn, if we're reaching. But not here. Not this far in the game. Not in this series, at least. I love the Delia stuff. Single-handedly, this episode made Delia better than she was in Sun and Moon, and I think she showed up a lot in Sun and Moon. It made her on par with how she was in the original series, where we don't just get happy-go-lucky Delia. We get upset Delia. We get mad Delia. We get disappointed Delia. Like when she pokes Pikachu's head like a pet and just like bad. Yeah. we get multiple layers of Delia. And we get to see her hair down. That's a nice touch. But we get multiple layers of Delia. This episode was great for her and Mr. Mime. Bad for Ash and Pikachu. They suffered. They suffered hard because the series is doing so much to the point TSS actually made a better point last week. I wouldn't have minded if they had touched on the Kangaskhan plot for Pikachu rather than rely so much on the callbacks from the other series. The problem with the callbacks is that means you have to have knowledge of the older series, which forces you to judge this episode based on how Ash and Pikachu were. So unfortunately, you have to get the good and the bad. You have to, unfortunately. There's no way you can get around it. I love when Pikachu and Ash got reunited. It was a nice looking scene. I even like when Pikachu had that smug ass look after he shot Ash.
Oh yeah, he deserved it.
Yeah, I liked that. unfortunately, we had to go through Koharu, who just learned what jealousy was like last week. Have to tell Ash that his Pikachu's jealous, and then we had to learn that from a character who barely likes Pokemon her damn self. And then with the worst part of it all, the worst part of all of that was that, one, it was off screen, and yeah, I know TSS, we would have sacrificed some of the journey for it, but that would have been a big moment for Koharu too, and she needs them. Like, she needs them. I know it's an Ash and Pikachu episode. I'm fully aware about all of those things, and I'm fully aware of the biggest problem we have in front of us. The thing about it is, though, is that you're relying a lot on people not knowing what the older shows are, but you bring reference and callbacks to the older shows. Even Go and Koharu question how Ash and Pikachu got together in the first place. And they even make a reference to when they first met, which they discolored Ash's jacket. That was kind of weird. But
well, then again, though, it was a flashback sequence, so you know all the colors are going to be subdued.
Yeah, but they didn't even do the yellow lining on that was on his jacket before. But I'm being nitpicky at that point. Anyway, you're doing a callback. Yeah. You're doing a callback to the Spearow stuff, which means you have to go back to the first episode. And weirdly enough, because once I saw the Spearow, I kind of knew it was coming. The callback to that would mean a lot more if movie 20 didn't exist. Because movie 20 did it. So it's not that far back.
But technically it's not canonical. So
it's not canonical, but it's one of the movies of Pokemon, and it came out literally last series. So we got to see the Pikachu Spearow scene a total of 2 other times before then.
Oh no, we've seen it so many times.
We've seen it. Well, we got because we remember we had the 2012 remaster, and then we had the 2017 remaster too.
Right. So my point is, it's just like, oh, that's nice, it's cool. It just. I can take it or leave it. I loved the interactions that Mr. Mime had with Pikachu during the journey. That was plus. Delia's stuff was plus. I like that. And I would have liked more of Delia talking to Ash or Koharu talking with Ash and Ash realizing that he's not doing well, even though his character has done way better than this on past occasions. Like I said, the episode has really great parts in it. Beautifully written parts. Love Delia singing to Pikachu. Love Ash singing to Pikachu. Beautiful parts. Beautiful, nice parts. But those are gems in an otherwise shit sandwich. Because we had to sacrifice Ash's already well-developed character. And we had to regress Pikachu back. And I wouldn't have minded this if it had been right after Ash had got Riolu. I mean, I wouldn't have minded as much. But this isn't after Ash got Riolu. This is episodes after. Long since Pikachu has gained a development with Riolu. Long since we've seen him use anything. If anything, Gengar deserves this because he's the one with abandonment issues. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that this episode was total garbage. No, I'm not. Definitely. This episode is actually really nice to just watch. Like Nessa said, Nessa nailed it actually. Turn your brain off and you just watch it for what it is. It's great. It's fine. It's actually really well paced. It's really well written. I love the whole Mr. Mime sleeping when and nodding his head off. So it looks like Mr. Mime's cool with the turn when in fact they're going to Viridian Forest. I like the, like Nessa said and TSS said, I like the Dodrio to let them know that it's Pallet Town because Dodrio's always on the top of, I don't know what building that is. I always assume it's Ash's house. Like the Dodrio just...
I don't know either. They never exactly showed which building it was.
But that kind of lets you know how Pallet Town's been set up over the years. When you see it enough, you know Dodrio equals Pallet Town. So I like the stuff in it. It has great materials, but when you know what characters and set pieces are being used for this narrative, that's when things start getting a little weird. Only because you know the characters being used. I'll name a similar situation where Ash got close to one of his Pokemon, and then I'll end it off because I know TSS is going to come back. Chimchar. When Ash got Chimchar, and you know that scene where Chimchar's crying with Ash? Well, that works because we know that we've already established what Chimchar went through with Paul, and what he's going through with Ash and how they're dramatically different. Characters being introduced, but the characters also using character traits that we're already used to, whereas Pikachu has never displayed any of these character traits in previous series. And we literally got from a series where I think Ash and Pikachu were at their best bond because they were literally able to make a Z move. So it's kind of weird when you set it backwards like this. That's my only criticism. That's literally it. The episode's great, just the character usage and the character interaction for the two characters that are 23 years old is piss poor. And you're going to run into those moments when you have characters that are 23 years old, because at that point you've written into almost every situation. But yeah, that's my criticism. Like, I think KG said it on Twitter too. It's the best and the worst.
Mornox actually has a great added me here. Has a great point, saying that because Satoshi didn't think about Riolu's the fact that Riolu forced Satoshi into the situation, then Pikachu had like a misunderstanding. Now that's a great that falling out in a misunderstanding. I think that pretty much sums it perfectly. Like I said, I think, like I said, in regards to this series, because Riolu was the benefactor here, he was the instigator in instrumentation to getting Pikachu into this moment. Because Pikachu had the misunderstanding, that's why I got pissed off. So it's not like it's not in vain.
I mean, well, the one issue I have with that is that Pikachu doesn't even confront Riolu. Riolu doesn't get any consequences for what it's doing.
No, I actually I'm hoping they address that in the future about Riolu, because that was the one thing too, because it's like Riolu didn't get any consequences. He didn't get any.
This is the
I think what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is he's going to get. I'm pretty sure Riolu's going to get reprimanded at some point. It's pretty much going to be put into his place.
This was the episode. They had a wide opening and they missed it. Instead, what they wound up doing was making Ash a dick. Because when I looked at Ash's character this episode, I was just shaking my head like, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Somebody
wanted to punch him.
Yeah,
I wanted to punch him.
Somebody on Twitter literally pointed out what happened with this character regression. Like, that's what happened. And that made like. But you can't do that.
It was entertaining.
I'm not gonna just accept it was entertaining for the sake of regressing a character. I'm sorry.
Actually, I know, like, kind of sounds silly too, but I was like, I would think though, even though it's kind of like in reality, I would think that like Ash and Pikachu really fight, and it's kind of unrealistic, to be honest. I would think they would fight more often, but I wonder, like, off screen, so it's like they're.
I mean, they've had fights before.
The other point I wanted to rebuttal, towards Tyrone here, is that if they showed that scene with Koharu, then that would have completely undermined the whole resolving, because we already had.
I mean, I think that we already had it off screen, so now we have to. Now, not only do we not get to see it, now we have to know that Ash was told off by Koharu of all people. Either way, Ash stated it, so that means the scene happened, whether it be on or off screen.
But to have it on screen would have completely undermined the whole situation. And considering that Koharu already got an episode dedicated to herself, the previous episode, it wouldn't have worked.
I mean, if anything, I think that would have shown her growth from the last episode.
But she's getting another spotlight next week. Next week. So you don't want Koharu like 3 times in a row. That's like fucking.
That's better than what we've gotten recently, which is
that's really blasphemy, really.
That's better than what we got from the former episodes, which was 0 times in a row.
Yeah, I think one thing I noticed, not just with this episode, I think this episode falls into where the whole series is kind of suffering a little bit. And when I say this, I'm really enjoying this series, but there are some things I'm picking out that I can see problems with. I just feel like there aren't any stakes here. Like, there's none for Ash, and like nobody's learning a lesson.
Right.
And because I think of this episodic format they're trying, and I'm going to explain this in a future video, like about my thoughts about this series so far, is that they're trying to cram everything into one episode, and resolve it in one episode. And I think that's where it suffers, because it's just going too fast, and like nobody really suffers any consequences of anything.
Right.
It's like Go left Rabu on in he was literally going to leave him without saying goodbye, and then Ash was like, "Oh, I'm not really okay with this. Like, are you sure you want to do this?" And then all of a sudden, everything's nice again at the end of the episode, and Rabu comes on the train, and like it's as nothing ever happened. So Go didn't learn anything from that. He didn't learn a lesson. And the same way here.
Technically, he did.
Well, yeah, but I guess it's like I thought it would have been interesting.
It's just like I guess the biggest problem here is that people want instant gratification for character development, and we're not getting that. We have to realize that it's a progressive thing. The problem is if you develop characters too fast, you get an XY situation or best wishes situation. You don't want that shit. Nobody wants that shit anymore.
Sounds to me that people haven't learned yet.
I just feel like
because it kind of ruins the pacing too.
Well, then that brings the issue too, because I remember most people's criticisms for X and Y was that Serena's character development wasn't fast enough. It was going at a reasonable pace for me.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't the pacing. It was the fact that her character got reset after 60. It was a reset. It was a hard reset. It wasn't the fact of the progression. It was the reset.
Well, no, I didn't.
The difference here,
I didn't
is
believe
that
it as a reset. She went to the journey to travel with Ash, but once she started finding the fact that she was doing the contest, she realized that she needed to change up everything.
I think the difference here.
Yeah, but go ahead, Paula.
Is that we're not following the formulaic going on a journey thing anymore.
Right,
so everything's just kind of vague to me. It's like, all right, is Ash gonna like, we got this PWC thing going on, but then aside from that, like, what's gonna happen? Like, with what you were saying before with Riolu, I almost would love for something to happen between Ash and Riolu. Like maybe Riolu gets pissed that Ash is working it too hard, or Ash gets pissed at Riolu for, I don't know, wanting to constantly steal the spotlight and not giving any. Like maybe this could be foreshadowing for a situation like that. Like
maybe
I would love to see that.
But my big thing is that people are looking too far into the future without even knowing anything, and I think that's the biggest problem. People are trying to look for episode titles like they're fucking thirsty. Like what the fuck are you thirsty for? Piss? Like really? It's like just enjoy the series as it's going on. It's like look at it from this week and then next week, and then that's how you should look at it. Don't look like 5 episodes into the future, because then you get fucking disappointed when things don't seem to go your way.
Just enjoy for what it is for now. Just go with the ride.
I agree wholeheartedly with what everybody
and now KG should have his floor, because I know he's gonna have a lot of stuff to say.
Oh boy.
Maybe
it was a bad idea.
Get your second helping of popcorn right.
All right, I got my water here. I got everything all good. I'm done. All right, let's start off with 3 words, I guess. That being, fuck this episode.
Damn.
I despise this episode so much. I hate it with a passion, and at the same time, god damn, I love this episode.
I see, that's the exact same thing I just said.
I've never had an episode like this mindset before.
If KG's on the exact same chapter, that obviously means I'm going somewhere.
So pretty much everyone here.
In my entire time I've watched Pokemon, I've never once ever felt this feeling that I'm having right now with this series. I have never experienced something like this. This Pokemon episode pissed me the hell off, but at the same time, goddamn, did it have some moments that it's like, why couldn't you just have done this in this direction? Or why couldn't this have been like the whole episode? There was so much good shit in this episode, but it's so filled with just terrible shit in the mix of it all. First of all, let me take some of the positives out of the way. I think the positives have to be noted first because they are the most important bit about this episode. Let's kick things off. Number 1, the music. The music in this episode is phenomenal. It is so heartwarming heartwarming. It hits you in the gut. That final song in this episode was so perfect. I swear to God, I was like hearing My Hero Academia songs, which makes sense because it's done by Yuki Hayashi, of all people. He did such an incredible job with that final piece. I need the OST from him now. I love his songs that he's produced.
Yeah,
I really,
Oh,
really
definitely.
do. This is such good musical pieces. A lot of people have been, ranting on social media about how the series has been kind of repetitive with a lot of the songs. In the more recent episodes, they have been switching things up a little bit, but this episode nails it. I think this episode did a phenomenal job. Another thing, too, talking about music, the lack of music. There are a lot of scenes in this episode that don't have any music and let the voices do the things itself, as well as the animation. Like the segment when Satoshi's mother and Pikachu were in the bed, and you see Pikachu, just casually getting pet on, which, by the way, there was a cute little animation scene there where Satoshi's mother actually fixed Pikachu in the pillow to make it more comfortable there. That had no reason to be animated there, but they animated it. And it's such little moments to details. I love shit like that because it's so important to make the world feel connected, to make these Pokemon feel like real creatures that need to be acknowledged and taken care of. Her seeing that Pikachu was slanted to the side, decided to fix Pikachu, I should say, to make sure that the Pokemon is adjusted properly and comfortable enough to take a nap while having her sing a lullaby as there's nothing of music playing in the background and just slowly fading the camera away from them to then having them sleep together. That kind of shit is so good. I love things like that. Delia in this episode is the MVP. She deserves every single goddamn award for this episode because she, to me, was the shining star in this thing. She saved this entire episode for me. And from that, the animation. The animation, I think, is also great. Honestly, this is one of the better animated episodes as well. Not maybe compared to last week, but still really, really good. I loved it. I loved it because it is very basic, but it does what it needs to do right. Like I mentioned with the Delia, fixing Pikachu scene. That stuff, like small little details like that, as we've been talking about from, your past conversations. That is great. I love shit like that. I'm a sucker for little small details. I'm very happy with that. And one last thing, the final thing that the narrator said. That was such a beautiful way to end the episode about Pokemon dreaming. That shit had me tearing up a little bit because it made you question just what Pokemon really is. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. That to me was such a wonderful way to end an episode. They always usually end it in like the typical format. That to me was probably one of the highlights for the narrator, man. I never thought I would see that kind of thing happen. And I'm so happy that it did. So there are things like that throughout the episode I enjoy. I also enjoy little segments like Go actually getting to battle a little bit more as well. We actually got to see him battle, not just with simply Farfetch, Beedrill. We also got to see Sobble interact a lot more. A lot of people were thinking Sobble was going to be thrown off to the side and we're never going to see it again. No, guess what? Sobble became another recurring Pokemon that is a part of the main cast now. It's not with Ash, unfortunately, but it is with Go. But I like that Go is starting to acknowledge and care for Sobble because he understands that Sobble needs more care and attention because it's a crybaby Pokemon. Therefore, he needs to do it. So I'm very glad with Go. Go is developing. This is the type of shit I love to see because guess what it was? It was a show, not tell situation. They didn't force the Sobble scene to your face. They made it happen in the background, and it allowed the viewers, if they caught on to it, to actually see it and be like, that's a nice little detail.
That's the whole point of this series. Thank you.
Indeed. And also was with Sun and Moon too, but I don't think a lot of people saw that as well. But
no,
that's
Sun and Moon, it was all about Satoshi and his cocaine habit.
Yeah, exactly. The people saw the cocaine, but they didn't see the things surrounding the cocaine.
Yeah, they didn't see. Yeah, and besides, since they were in Alola, there wasn't really many ways to settle callbacks and things.
Yeah, of course. I understand that perfectly. Don't worry. I always love the cocaine too. But now
we're gonna get to the shit part. And now,
oh man, listen, TSS, I'm sorry, buddy.
It's okay. Listen. Like I said, the reason why this podcast exists is because we all have differing opinions and we all respect it.
Yes.
I made the disclosure beforehand.
I know that. And then listen, I just want to say to everybody, obviously opinions matter. It's always important for us to always share different opinions because at the end of the day, we always want to make sure everybody has a different side of the table that they can call their own and be like, okay, I'm on this side, you're on that side. It don't matter. At the end of the day, we're still friends. We're always going to still do this kind of thing, and with viewers as well. Okay, now, with that being said, fuck this episode. I absolutely hated this episode as well. This episode pissed me off with a lot of things. For starters, let's kick things off with one character, Mr. Mime. Holy shit, Mr. Mime pissed me off. There are certain sequences in this episode that pissed me the hell off because I'm like, wait a minute. Don't you have any psychic abilities with you? Like, for real?
Ah, shit, I didn't think about that.
There are so many moments in this episode
No,
where
Pee-Pee,
Mr.
no,
Mime could have literally just squeezed less time by actually thinking, oh shit, I'm a psychic Pokemon or a fairy Pokemon or whatever the shit I am. I could have done that. Oh my god. Yeah. Why didn't I do that? Nah, we're going to have a little comedy scene where we're going to have Mr. Mime fall into the lake and realize that the water's not too shallow enough so where it can actually land on its knees. Okay, you got a laugh. No, you didn't. That shit instead gave me a pissed off moment right there. I didn't like that scene whatsoever. Now, the references that they made, I love the references. Okay, that's great. But, as Tyrone stated, when you reference something, you're acknowledging the past. And when you acknowledge the past, you have 20 plus years of history to go under your belt. Yep. And because of that shit, it unfortunately undermines a lot of the things that Pikachu and Ash both do together. There are certain sequences in this episode that really pissed me off. I don't like how Ash was handled in this episode. He, as Tyrone mentioned, was an asshole. He's never like this. Yes, okay, let's say it's a misunderstanding. Let's call it a misunderstanding, as you guys are stating here in the chat, if it was a misunderstanding. Here's the thing, though. Misunderstandings could have been easily fixed by doing something that Ash did in the previous series. Just say
yeah, but the thing is though, Satoshi did not have a negative tone to his voice. He was just more concerned with Riolu because if he was pissed off, you would hear it in his voice.
No. I'm not saying about him acting in a negative mood. I'm just saying all he had to do in this episode to prevent this episode from even happening was say one word. No. He could have just said no to Riolu, acknowledge that Pikachu wanted to train, tell Pikachu, okay, it's your turn, because guess what? He did that in the previous series, as stated by you guys here in the call, and it is possible for Ash to act that way. So why did he do it now? Why?
Yeah, but Riolu's not going to kick his ass if he says no.
Yes, exactly. But that'll also give Riolu a moment to realize, all right, there are other Pokemon that deserve some training. In fact, instead of that, why don't we have Pikachu train with Riolu like they did before? What's holding it back? There was nothing holding it back. Instead, guess what we got? At the very end of that sequence, Pikachu was sleeping there. Ash decided to be like, look at this motherfucker over here taking a nap and being lazy as fuck.
You know what? I'm just going to slide in here for a second. I would have accepted this a lot more for Gengar or Dragonite because at this point in the series, I almost forget that those are his.
Because they're always in the wild, in the forest. But that's important to me because I love that from the previous series. It's nice to see that the Pokemon are outside of the Pokeball. Which brings me to another point of the episode that I had a problem with. Why the hell was Farfetch inside his Pokeball and Beedrill while they were still in the lab? I would have preferred just keeping them. It's a nitpick moment, by the way. This is nothing like significant. It's just a small nitpick. I don't find it, like consistent to see his Farfetch, despite them being in the laboratory, be stuck inside the Pokeball. Like, couldn't it just be outside, Like, once again, that's a nitpick moment, because if Go wants to call his Pokemon, he could just easily do it via the Pokeball, But, like, instead of calling them out, things like that. It's little small nitpicks. I'm just not a big fan of that moment right there. I don't know. It's just that I hated the way Ash treated Pikachu there. Okay, now let's talk about Pikachu. Pikachu, holy shit, you're an asshole as well. You don't deserve love. In fact, Pikachu, never do this shit to my face ever again. You are such an entitled little fucking bastard. I hate you so much in this episode. Because they really... The thing that's also pissing me off with Pikachu here is that Pikachu should never act this way. Why? As mentioned, with 20 years of history, once again, Riolu is still a baby Pokemon. It is still born recently. It hasn't developed enough to where it can evolve into Lucario yet because it's still, relatively new. And guess what Pikachu has done in the past? Taking care of the little ones. Because Pikachu has always been seen as the big bro. Togepi, Axew, Scraggy, to name a few. Let's go even to alternate dimensions with freaking Poipole,
You want to know what they did with Pikachu's personality? Because this episode technically exists in Johto. they took Pikachu's personality and replaced it with Chikorita's personality. Because Chikorita had this episode where it was pissed at that his other Pokemon were getting the spotlight, so it ran away. It's the episode, I think, where it evolved into Bayleaf.
All right,
at the end of the day,
oh no, I still have more to say, buddy. I'm sorry.
Go
I just want Tyrone to state
Go
his
ahead
thing.
and say it because I have a serious question.
All right, no, don't worry. It's understandable. I'll get to yours.
And it's not against you. And it's not against you personally.
No. I do want to hear this myself as well, just because. But I have a long list here. This shit is rolling on the floor right now in terms of the list of things I hate from this episode. So I'm gonna go as fast as I possibly can to go through as every single thing I can for this episode.
Someone wanted it.
Yeah, rap god moment, boys.
Rap god
okay,
time.
here's the next thing. With Pikachu. Holy shit, Pikachu, why the hell did you run away? I've never seen you do this kind of thing. You literally ran away from one area of the Kanto region all the way back to Palatown. Holy shit, how does your little entitlement go so far to go from one goddamn part of the region to another? That shit is so confusing. And then let's go to Riolu as well. I hate that Riolu, as Tyrone mentioned, didn't get any form of repercussion for the incident that he did unintentionally. It still would have been important to have shown it because Ash acknowledged it. So Riolu should have seen it too. And if Riolu had seen it, I would have loved to have seen a moment where Riolu said, I'm sorry for accidentally causing this mess without really, putting you in my thought as well. Like, there's things like this. Like, why wasn't this included in the episode? If that was at the very end of the episode, that would have made the whole Riolu sequence at the beginning make much more sense. But Riolu basically decided to do that whole cross meme where he just fades away from existence for the second half of the episode, and you never hear from him ever again. In fact, he's never mentioned ever again at all whatsoever. And now, Koharu. Oh my god, Koharu. First of all, I love Koharu's bits. Like the Mr. Mime scene, by the way, where like Mr. Mime is trying to prepare some tea and all the foods and cakes and stuff. You see Koharu just looking into the side, and she's like, what the hell is this mime doing? And then she's given an empty cup as well, and she just looks at the cup for like a couple of seconds and it's just like, really? This is what you're doing to me? I love sequences like that. That to me was hilarious because that's Koharu's character. Now, Koharu, she scolded Ash. This is the point that I did not like this episode. Because, okay, Koharu did this. First of all, there was never I shouldn't say never, rarely any interactions between Koharu and Satoshi for something like this to happen. That to me is the first thing. It's because they've taken so much time to even get these two characters to interact with each other that whole moment doesn't feel impactful. It's because Koharu and Ash never really got to talk with each other as much. They've only had 1 to 2 moments, and that's it. That was it. You're telling me that this... Yeah, she never considered Satoshi as a friend. She just considers as just somebody that's just living there. Never viewed as a friend. They never even acknowledge each other as friends. Only Satoshi maybe see Koharu as a friend, but Koharu never acknowledges Satoshi as something like that. So that pisses me off. The second thing, off-screen land. One of my absolute favorites / worst things about any series is when you take something, keep it off in the distant, and never allow us viewers to see it, because guess what? They acknowledge in this episode that the whole Yamper incident took a couple of days before. That meant, like in the episode when they were talking about how the whole jealousy thing happened, Koharu states that it had, there was like a bit of time that had passed where the whole Yamper situation had occurred. That meant that some time had gone already, which would have given a perfect opportunity for Koharu to have at least taught Ash, or at least remind Ash, hey, don't do what I did, or don't do what I unintentionally did, because I didn't really do anything in the end. Which, by the way, speaking of which, last week's episode, the whole jealousy thing, that never got resolved because there was never any jealousy to begin with. For Koharu, it was for Yamper. But anyway, with the whole Koharu bit, she scolds Ash. I don't like that, because we didn't see it. I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been, to me, that would have been Koharu's best moment in this series. To see another character scold Ash for his own mistakes. For example, let's go to X, Y, and Z, the whole snowball scene. You guys remember that, of course. A very iconic moment right there. Mm-hmm. It was because of Serena that Satoshi was able to kind of snap himself back to reality and realize the faults that he has made and try to see if he can find a way to fix them. They aren't exactly the same because they are in much higher scales, but I still believe was important for Koharu to do something like this because Koharu would have been shown as like, as an example. Be like, listen, I had something like this happen to me before. Don't do the same thing I just did with my Pokemon. Be better. Like stuff like that. I would have loved to have seen Koharu scold Satoshi like that. And I think that would have been a great point for Koharu because we never see moments of Koharu. So that would have just been another list to add to Koharu's best moments right there, in my opinion. But it doesn't exist outside of just a text that says.
I know. Speaking of Koharu, told me off. Also, I kind of wish to see is like I was wondering if Ash was really worried before finding out that Pikachu was missing. Like we never seen his reaction.
Yeah,
exactly.
we literally just see him come out of the house. Like, if that's the case, that means they had to have hopped in a car to beat Pikachu over. That's the only way they can beat Pikachu on foot at that point. Because Pikachu's a mouse and it runs relatively fast. So and they took a truck. So the only way they were able to beat them had to have been in a car. That means Sakuragi had to have driven them there.
I'm just assuming that Ash is basically Goku. He learned instant transmission somewhere around the line of development and just teleported himself.
No, I know what it was. It was Slow King Ash.
Oh, yeah. Yato, what was his name? Sato King. There we go.
Sato King.
Yeah, he decided, okay, it's time to reactivate my power. Just teleport from one area all the way to the other. Sato King came back, once again, off screen land. So I'm not even happy about that as well. Yeah, there's just so many inconsistencies with this episode, man. I'm just so mad about it. But once again, I can't hate it so much because there's so much good in this episode that I loved. I love
beautiful shit in there.
Yes, and the thing about the Ash and Pikachu thing, by the way, I loved that interaction that they had at the end. That to me was such a good point that unfortunately gets stuck or placed in between what could be considered, to me anyway, the most divisive episode since probably X, Y, and Z's Kalos League finale. This is to that scale of divisive.
The next question that I have, and this is the $1 million question. Will an 8-year-old kid give a fuck about this? The answer is no.
And that's what I was going to get to at the very end, which I was not expecting you to say that. Because here's the thing. Number one, I understand that this is a show that was always targeted for the little kids. So I was
the little kids do not remember 20 years ago because they weren't even fucking alive.
Here's the thing, though. Because, to me, it was like, I'm reviewing this episode in two ways. The way that I love this episode is only viewing it for PM 2019. The way I'm hating this episode is viewing the 20+ years that existed prior to PM 2019. That's where my divisiveness is coming in.
The biggest issue, however, is that people take that history and then they amplify it on social media, and then they start freaking this kind of negative slander, and they start attacking people, flinging shit at people.
There's one thing we haven't talked about.
It's fucking stupid that people have to resort to this.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. But then that raises the question: why so many references to stuff that happened before the 8-year-old existed?
Because they wanted to call back to the original series to show people that kids that weren't even fucking alive.
Yeah, that they never got to see it. This is the perfect way to do it.
This is the perfect way to introduce.
That just confuses the kids now because it's like, what is this reference to?
But to be fair, a little 8-year-old kid is not gonna think that. That's like as if if the kid had 200 IQ, then maybe.
The kid should probably be aware that this is a many-year-old friend. My brother came in. My brother's 3 years younger than me. He came in during the Diamond and Pearl franchise, and then he caught the Arceus movie on TV, Darkrai. And he's like, "Hey, I should go back and watch all the old episodes. I think I remember there being previous seasons of this show," and he did, and that's how I got into it. And it's I feel like 8-year-olds are maybe not 4-year-olds, but Kids once they get old enough, they
to be fair, it's a different style of writing, and I guess that's true for anything. You can like a Netflix series, but I might hate the shit out of it because I don't like, in my interpretation, the way it was written. So to be honest, it's like it's beauty. You know, it's the whole adage that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah, and
So
I get it. Yeah, like I said, I get it. The little kids are gonna probably not. Obviously, they're not gonna know as much as we know now, based on a series that's happened.
and it's like more critical.
But there have been several shows that have been targeted towards kids that have dug upon much deeper messages. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a prime example of a show that's technically for kids, but has the writing that digs deep into a mature audience. So I'm going to review it as such. I'm going to review it as
but that's a Western series versus a Japanese series.
It doesn't matter. There's plenty of anime that have done this before too, where they're targeted towards kids, but they dig deeper. Like, I'm not giving that an excuse. I'm not going to give poor writing as an excuse for this was only meant for kids.
But poor writing is again a freaking opinion.
Right.
Because
I'm not going to give character regression writing. I'm sorry, an excuse for it was for kids and they wouldn't know.
No, but I'm not saying. But the thing is though, the whole for kids thing, the whole thing, 8-year-old will give a fuck. The whole thing is, do they care about character regression? That shit had happened before they actually fucking cared.
Well, I'm not even talking about character regression for a character 23 years ago. Has acted better in this series, so now we're just judging him based on this series.
I can see that.
So I'm not even using his past as an example. Now I'm just using him currently, how he's treated Pikachu currently, even after Riolu hatched.
Okay.
So I'm not even judging it on that standpoint. And like I said, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be cruel.
You're not.
And
you're
not.
TSS,
you and I have a very big understanding of how I judge things and how I review the stuff.
And you're right. And you're right. You should definitely have you should be balls to the wall and give your opinion. That's perfectly fine. But the thing is though, when you look at all different perspectives, because it's not just because remember, for things in life there are not just one perspective. If there was one perspective, then there would be no wars, then there would be no fighting. It would be like we're in the fucking doldrums every fucking day.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. And I think though everybody is right. Everybody in this call is 100% right. I think though the way that the reason why I love this series is because it's making people more divisive than ever.
Oh my god, that is the best thing about this series, man.
That is right. It definitely
and because it makes people look at it from all different perspectives. It's not like the other series where you had to look at it from one perspective because that was the whole narrative. Here, it can be interpreted like 7 different ways. And that's what I love about this series.
Right.
That's what I love. I love that they're taking risks. They didn't really do that before. They're taking controversial risks that somehow pay off. And I love that.
Yeah. It's funny because we all have some things that we like that the other does not like and vice versa. And this is the kind of thing that the series can perfectly nail when it's done right. This is that episode. This is the perfect prime example of a divisive episode that is great for all different reasons and wrong for all different reasons.
Yes.
And I can never think we'd ever see a series as divisive as this one. And I'm curious to see how people are going to treat this series as we progress further into this storyline, with Ash and Go. There is so much I'm already seeing divisiveness with Go and Sobble, Ash versus Karina, and now this one. And these were back to back as well,
And I wonder what's going to happen once all of the characters get all of their development. If that divisive nature of the series will continue. I imagine that it will, because as you know, the series has thrown, this specific series has thrown so many fucking curveballs. It's like, you think it's going to go in one direction. Nope. Going the other way.
Yeah.
Like it's like the guy on stage that gets the fucking gets the cane and pulls you off the fucking stage.
Yeah.
It does that. That.
I think what Tyrone was saying before, it's like, I I'm critical because I care is kind of how I feel. Not with this episode because I enjoyed this episode,
Yeah.
but with the whole series because you're right. They have. I think it's more that a lot of us don't trust the writers, but I think the writers are like trying to like redeem themselves for maybe a lot of the inconsistencies that have been in previous seasons and the formulaic nature of it. But they have a lot of stakes here. I mean, they have a lot of pressure. There is so much like that they've already crammed in the series. So I guess I just want to trust that they're gonna follow everything, like see it through. You know, it's like you have Ash's development, you have Go's development, you have Koharu's development, you have all the Galar characters, and then you have the Pokemon World Championships. What else?
Go catching all the fucking Pokemon.
Yeah.
And they have to show all that rockets. They have to be relevant.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that they have to juggle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just something that's just gonna have to exist with them for the next 3 years.
Yeah, at least 3 years, and we don't even know because for all we know, because we do not know, we do not have a crystal ball. We don't know if they're just going to continue this into like Gen 9 or something. We don't know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's many different opportunities. Since this is not focused on one region anymore, they have a lot of potential to go back and do elements from each region that they never got to touch in the older series. So there's a lot of potential.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, how will they tie everything together where it makes sense?
And that's just something that we unfortunately will have to just simply wait and see.
Yep.
To find
and
out.
we cannot make that decision based off of episode titles, summaries. We really can't do that because
and previews.
And previews, because even the previews were like complete 180 than what we.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Delia to have much of a role in this. Like I thought it was going to be 5 seconds.
No, I think they did better with Delia in this one than they did in all of Sun and Moon, and she showed up in Sun and Moon.
Yes, exactly.
Also,
Like-
a last little point though, it's like funny. I think no one mentioned, but Delia and Ash are so similar. The way they sleep, that last little detail.
Yeah,
where she's-
It's the little things. Yeah.
it was nice.
the little thing. I was like, okay, like they're definitely related.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about that preview now, I think.
All
Yeah,
right,
you-
so next week's episode, Koharu's going Super Saiyan because gosh, she
Oh,
has
yeah.
flames coming out of her eyes and everything. Her hair's flowing up. That's the funniest Koharu's has been.
I
to me.
like the one, and I'm just going to comment on this one real fast. I like the picture, and someone put this on Twitter too. I like the picture of Koharu, her brother, Go, and Ash together in that one little shot.
They look
Because
like a group.
it looked like an AGXY situation. I liked that. I kind of wish they went that direction.
And also, the thing that I also like too is because Koharu's little brother is not like super young at all.
yeah,
Like he's like around like 8 to 9.
He's
you
a
would
little
say.
bit older
Yeah.
than Bonnie and Max.
Yeah. And I like that because he can kind of think things a little bit more on his own for some things. And and I'm liking it because he's the one that came for advice to Ash, Go, and Koharu from what we got via the preview, if I'm correct. Also, by the way, the preview is great because I'm so happy Go told Ash to just shut the fuck up in the preview. because Ash in that preview, he was like, okay, so we need to figure out a way to help the Phoebus. And then he's like, I got it!
Battle.
A Pokemon battle! And then goes like,
Yeah,
just be quiet, or just shut
shut
up.
up, like-
I
No.
loved it. That to me was the best interaction from that preview, man. I loved it. I loved it so much. I don't know why, but the way Goat said that to Ash was so great.
I like that they're tackling the Phoebus Prism scale thing because I don't think we've ever really seen a Phoebus straight up evolve into a Milotic, have we?
No,
No.
we never did.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I like that.
but is it gonna evolve in this episode though?
It's got the
It has a scale on it, so it's gonna have to.
Yeah, it's gonna have to happen.
Unless Team Rocket comes in to decide to attack it so it can level up or something, then maybe not.
No, probably not.
You know what this episode reminds me of?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that one DP episode with this girl trying to prove to her peers that this shelter is cute.
Oh,
You know-
that one.
Yeah, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting similar vibes with this upcoming episode.
Yeah, so
It looks fun.
It looks fun, yeah, indeed. I'm
Yeah.
excited just to see the shenanigans that are going to go because, once again, another Koharu episode. I've really enjoyed her episodes before, and I'm very happy to see her come back again. But this time, it's going to be with the gang. It's not just going to be by herself this time. Everybody's coming. Even Koharu's little brother is also going to be a part of the
The
episode.
Rockets
as well.
will be in this one, but I don't. But the question then will be, will they go into the fight? But again, previews don't tell you anything these days, so it's like
Exactly.
you really can't do any. You can't really say it.
Well, I guess we'll find out in just a couple of days. So, I feel like
6 days from now.
I think we have pretty much gotten everything out of our chest. I would like to say.
Yes. Yes.
Once again, everybody, I do apologize for everyone here who.
This is. By the way, this was KG's best episode of the PokePod so far.
He said, "Fuck this episode" to start off.
Yeah, I mean, he talked. He talked like 1,000 miles an hour, and I love that.
Listen, I just realized when I looked at the time, I'm like, shit. I was like,
Yeah,
it's almost 12 o'clock.
And you know what? And you know what's funny? You talked at like double and triple the speed, and you did not lose your cadence. So you did not.
Tweeted
I'll give you
Sun
props.
and Moon background music that played predominantly in Sun and Moon. That reminds me of KG. That goes along with his rant.
Yeah.
Fucking top 10 rappers. Eminem is afraid of too.
That was originally that original remix was from like the Eevee short.
No, I know, but it was used a lot in X and Y and Sun and Moon. But like,
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
that was like the remake of
They used it
the
a
first
lot in
movie.
They use it a lot in the one in the factory episode with Clement and the whole items that move redundantly.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they
because-
use it when Ash does the report, the Rotom
I
thing.
think they also use it in the Pokeball factory too.
Yeah, he's talking really fast. That's what I thought of.
You know, it's funny. I actually watched that episode in Japan the first time I went. DB20. I'm sorry, SM24. That was fun. That was a fun episode.
Yeah.
And that had Hanako-san in it, and that was funny. She was the answer, and she was the answer to Pokemon Die on that episode.
I love how somebody says, "Don't apologize, KG. You said you're done ranting, but you're lying. You ain't done, not yet. Don't worry, buddy. We got the rest of PM 2019 to be as divisive as hell as we want to be. And guess what? It's gonna be a fun ride when we get through it all, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love this.
Yeah, I love shit like this, man. You'll never get shit like this with any other series.
Any other series?
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go and wrap things up for tonight. Then, why do we say that?
Yay!
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being with us here tonight. We hope you guys enjoyed our recent session of the pod. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed all of our rambles, the silly shenanigans. I am going to be right now ending things off here. I got to go work on my ring fits because I forgot to go do that.
12:30 a fucking night.
Don't worry, buddy. I've been doing this at 12:30 at night.
Very good.
However, I do want to state though, I forgot to mention this last week. I actually finally got an end goal right here after 30 days. After 30 days of playing this game, I have finally lost 10.3, I want to say, pounds from playing Ring Fit Adventure.
Yay!
After what?
Did you meant to play music, by the way?
Yes, I did. There's music playing in the background. Which, by the way, that's from Dragalia Lost recent event that's coming in just a couple of hours, which is why I'm playing that for the moment. But yeah, so it's something I'm very happy with. Of course, that's not my end goal right now with just 30 days. We're going to keep playing it for more months. We're going to see how that progression goes, but it makes me happy to see that it actually worked in the long run. I'm so happy with myself for pushing further with the 30-day thing. I'm going to do it again for another month. We're going to talk again in another month, see how things go. I'm going to go for that goal of going under the 200 mark. So continue to wish me luck. Continue to just all the love and support that you've given to us every week. We absolutely love and appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And we hope to hear from you guys really soon. And my name is KG Prestige. Thanks to everybody in this call here. We'll talk with all of you guys later in whatever video we make. Take care, everybody. And as always, have yourself an awesome day.
Wash your hands, and thank you for the 75 to 80 people that came here tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.